Chapter 2380, Competing with One? Chapter 2380, Competing with One? Let's go. To the mystic moon palace. Long Fei roared out, I want to see what kind of tricks Royal Alchemist can play. Tell me the truth. Long Fei was not afraid of Kong Dowling at all. Royal Alchemist? Bullshit. In front of his powerful alchemy techniques, he could belittle all the alchemy masters on the Zhenwu continent. So what if he had the power of the Emperor? He didn't care at all. Long Fei shouted, but not many people responded. Only the thin monkey, the big-size man and Xiao Dai were there. The elders from the alchemy courtyards all looked at Long Fei with resentful eyes. They had humiliated their godlike idol, Kong Dowling. The hatred they had for Long Fei grew even more. Long Fei didn't mind at all. Looking at those resentful gazes, he smiled faintly and said, You don't like me, right? If you're not satisfied, then defeat me. If you can't beat me, then calm down. This is my territory, understand? Long Fei was filled with disdain. Inwardly, he thought to himself, I hope the provocation is of some use to you guys. These people's alchemy techniques were too traditional and old-fashioned. The alchemy techniques that hadn't changed for thousands or tens of thousands of years were not meant to change, but instead to improve. Then, Xiao Dai walked over and said, Along, the sister Yi has disappeared. Long Fei was slightly stunned. He did not manage to find Yi Yorong within the crowd and said, I understand. He had already guessed in his heart that Yi Yorong had gone to report to the elder. Following that, Long Fei said, Those who want to go to the Mystic Moon Hall to watch a good show, follow me. He walked down the Pill Pavilion's peak with large strides. A wave of curses came from behind him. There are still 4 more days. Let's see how long you can continue being so arrogant. You really don't know your limits. Now that you have even offended the Royal Alchemist, let's see how long you can stay arrogant for. Too savage. Just you wait, there are still 4 days left. When it's time to issue out more pills, I'll see what he'll do. I heard that he doesn't even have a single spirit grass on him, and is completely unable to refine pills. With this monthly rule, even if he dies, he wouldn't be able to take out that many spirit pills. I'm just waiting to see him make a fool of himself. Many people were waiting for Long Fei to make a fool of himself. Offending Kong Dowling meant that more and more people wanted to see Long Fei become a joke, and all of them wanted to step on him. Zhao family, royal family. How could he be offended by a kid from the mountains? Profound Moon Great Hall. His old face was flushed red and he looked extremely miserable. However, his eyes were burning with anger as he said fiercely, Sect Master Gui, if you don't give me an explanation today, then don't blame me for being impolite. High up in the main hall, Gui Qingshan looked at Kong Dowling's sorry state, seemingly very calm on the surface, but in his heart he was extremely happy, and thought to himself, an old thing that eats the enemy inside. Why didn't you fall to your death? Others didn't know. But Gui Qingshan was extremely clear in his heart, that the Kong Dowling in front of him was the royal alchemist from the imperial court, and a few ministers in the imperial court were directly poisoned to death by his pills. One of them was a 3-year-old prince. Looking at the enemy in front of him, Gui Qingshan's anger simmered. He was afraid that he wouldn't be able to control himself. Master Gui! Kong Dowling shouted loudly. Gui Qingshan forcefully suppressed his anger and said calmly, Elder Kong, how do you want to punish him? Kong Dowling said, Very simple, he told me to scram from the Pill Pavilion's summit once, I want him to scram 100 times. Gui Qingshan said, He is the great elder of the Pill Pavilion. Kong Dowling shouted, Then I am also from the Royal Alchemist. I represent the imperial family, and telling me to scram down the Pill Pavilion is not only insulting me, but also insulting the Zhao family. Do you want to become enemies with the Zhao family? His voice sank. The last sentence was exceptionally powerful, as if a heavy pressure was crushing down on him. While they were talking, Kong Dowling stared deadly at Gui Qingshan. Gui Qingshan was startled, and avoided looking at her. Although he had changed his appearance now, but if she were to see anything else, the consequences would be unimaginable. Kong Dowling looked at Gui Qingshan and avoided his gaze, thinking that he was afraid. She revealed a proud and cold smile. I doubt even a small clan leader of a Xianyu sect like you would dare to do that, right? Gui Qingshan and Yang Xiao said smilingly, I don't dare, I don't dare. Kong Dowling's eyes turned sinister, and shouted fiercely, if you don't dare, then do as I say. Gui Qingshan squinted. At this moment, a voice came from outside the hall. What are you doing? Is he going to get out from here again? Before he finished speaking, Long Fei walked into the hall. He cupped his hands together and said, Greetings, Sect Master. Gui Qingshan said, Long Fei, did you get Elder Kong to scram down the Pill Pavilion Peak? Do you know his identity as a royal alchemist? When Kong Dowling saw the anger in Long Fei's eyes grow stronger, he said solemnly, Little bastard, you've finally appeared. Long Fei immediately laughed out loud, and said, I was just joking, I didn't expect you to scram. Ha ha ha. This is the first time I've seen someone with a brain like yours. Right. You are the royal alchemist. It can't be. How could a clan like you think highly of you? Did you use some tricks to get out the back door? Don't be angry. I'm talking about taking the back door, not the back door, but the back door on your ass. You are disrespectful to me. Sorry, I can't stomp you to death. Poochie. The two disciples at the entrance of the Great Hall could no longer control themselves and started laughing. Smoke rose from the top of Kong Dowling's head as he stared at Long Fei. He wanted to break Long Fei's head and shouted, How dare you humiliate me like this? Even if Yi Luxian comes out today, I will kill you. Kill me? Wow. I'm so scared. Long Fei pretended to be afraid, and said softly, Transformers, someone wants to kill me. As soon as he finished. Boom. Outside the hall, Transformers summoned his spirit power and used both hands to thump his chest, releasing waves of brazen roars. Long Fei's mouth hooked up, and said, Kill me? Come on. Seeing Transformers, Kong Dowling became impotent all of a sudden. It was true that he was at the spirit refinement realm. Logically speaking, a 9th-level demon beast should not need to be afraid of a spirit refinement cultivator, but his realm of spirit refinement was the path of alchemy. In terms of value, there was a huge difference in realm of spirit refinement between his and the martial arts training. What he was good at was alchemy. Kong Dowling's gaze turned as he looked at Gui Qingshan and shouted, Sect Master Gui, is this how your Xianyu sect treats its guests? Gui Qingshan said, Elder Kong, this great elder of our Xianyu sect's pill house is a little unruly, please do not take him to heart. Go back first, I will properly discipline him. No way. Kong Dowling shouted, if you don't punish him today, I will immediately report to the Divine Kingdom and have His Majesty send out the army. At that time, I will see if a little Xianyu sect like you can take it or not. He would use the Zhao family to suppress them. Gui Qingshan looked at Long Fei. Long Fei smiled faintly and said, a match. Chapter 2381 Unrestricted Competition. Chapter 2381 Unrestricted Competition. If you can make a move, then don't make a move. Let's compete. Long Fei said directly. Kong Dowling looked at Long Fei and asked, what do you want to compete in? Long Fei said, of course it's something good at fighting. Could it be that I am going to go through the back door with you? The back door is so loose, I definitely can't compete with you. Cluck, cluck. Kong Dowling clenched his teeth and shouted, since you are the great clan elder of the Pill Pavilion, then I will compete in alchemy with you. Long Fei said, sure, whatever you're good at is fine, I'm fine with anything. Very arrogant. Kong Dowling revealed a cold and scornful smile, and said, since it's a competition, then we should have a wager. Long Fei said, what do you want to bet? Kong Dowling said, I'm betting your life. Another life wager. Long Fei shook his head and laughed, you love to gamble your life that much. Is life not worth it? Kong Dowling said in disdain, why not? Long Fei looked at the system, but the system did not issue any more missions, and said, I will not take your life. How about this, if you lose, you will scram from here all the way down to the Xianyu sect. Wasn't this a life wager? This was his life. Kong Dowling huffed, good. However, brat, prepare the coffin. What am I going to do with the coffin? For you. Long Fei retorted. Kong Dowling laughed in disdain, feeling extremely proud in his heart. You want to compete in alchemy with me? I will let you know who the real #1 alchemy master is. And then, Kong Dowling turned to Gui Qingshan and said, Sect Master Gui, I want to compete in alchemy with him in front of all the disciples of the Xianyu sect. He wanted to trample Long Fei to death in front of everyone. He wanted to use the alchemy technique to ruthlessly humiliate Long Fei. We have to let him know who the real royal alchemist is. Gui Qingshan hesitated for a moment, looked at Long Fei and said, Elder Kong, it's just a simple competition. I don't think there's a need to be so grand, right? And it's not good to gamble with your life. It doesn't matter who wins or loses, you will be hurt. When Gui Qingshan was speaking, he had been looking at Long Fei the entire time. The idea moved and said, Boy, Kong Dowling's alchemy technique is not something Yi Changfeng can compare to. Early in the dynasty, Kong Dowling's alchemy technique had already reached the peak of the 9th stage. This was also the reason why. That was why the Zhao family valued him. It had been more than 10 years, but what realm had his current alchemy technique reached? It was hard to imagine. Within Zhao Guo's territory, there might not be anyone from any of the large sects that could defeat him. Long Fei answered, Just because no one wins doesn't mean that I can't win. This person is like a fly flying around in front of me, extremely annoying. Gui Qingshan trembled slightly. Kong Dowling shouted, Sect Master Gui, quickly issue an order. Let the entire sect know about this competition. I want to let him know what alchemy is. Kong Dowling said in disdain. He was extremely confident in his alchemy. With his current attainments in alchemy, other than a few old monsters that could not be found, no one else in Zhao Guo's world had been able to defeat him. Gui Qingshan looked at Long Fei. Long Fei nodded. Gui Qingshan said, Pass my order. Great Elder of the Pill Pavilion is competing with Royal Alchemist Kong Dowling in the Profound Moon Plaza. Kong Dowling added, Alchemy gamble. And then, Kong Dowling strode out of the Profound Moon Hall, walked to Long Fei's side and sneered sinisterly, and said, Brat, just prepare to die. I'll wait for you on the plaza in an hour. Long Fei said, What's the competition for alchemy? Kong Dowling said, There are no restrictions. The spirit grass will prepare its own, the pill furnace will prepare its own. Let's see whose pill grade is the best. Finished. Kong Dowling left in large strides, and he was even leaving while laughing maniacally, ha ha ha. Gui Qingshan hurriedly walked down and said, Have you thought about it yet? He is the royal alchemist, and is already a level 9 alchemy master over 10 years ago. Right now, he is probably at least an earth rank alchemy master. Gui Qingshan knew that Long Fei had very high attainments in alchemy. However, after all, the other party was Kong Dowling, the #1 alchemy master. It only took a few days to subdue all of the elders in the Pill Pavilion. Long Fei replied, It should be fine. What do you mean by should? Gui Qingshan said worriedly, You are someone who will be participating in the Gods sect gathering. If you lose this time, Kong Dowling would definitely not let you off so easily. There's more. How are your preparations for the monthly elixir pills 4 days from now? This was something else that Gui Qingshan was worried about. Long Fei's personality was too unrestrained and arrogant, causing a lot of people to be unhappy. Especially the people from the Pill Pavilion. As long as Long Fei is not able to take out enough spirit pills, I am afraid. Even if it was him, he wouldn't be able to protect Long Fei. Long Fei scratched his head and said, Not yet. No. You. Gui Qingshan's brows tightened, and said, You, Long Fei, you are now Pill Pavilion's great elder. Sect Master Yi wants you to shoulder the responsibility of Xianyu sect. You can't be such a slob, and don't act too arrogantly in front of others. If you overshine us like this, we'll get into trouble. The edge of the blade was too sharp. Arrogant. This caused many people in the sect to feel unhappy. If something bad happened, it would result in the wall being pushed down by everyone. Not only that, the Zhao and Zhu families were all staring at the Xianyu sect. If Long Fei continued to be so arrogant, it would bring about more trouble. I see. Gui Qingshan didn't wait for Long Fei to speak, and said, I'll apologize to Kong Dowling on your behalf. I'll give you a delay of half a month's time to distribute the monthly rule, and with your speed of alchemy, you should be able to complete the monthly rule mission. Gui Qingshan and Kong Dowling had a deep grudge. But for Long Fei's sake, he could only endure the anger in his heart. Long Fei's talent was extremely high, he did not want Long Fei to die young. Long Fei wanted to refuse. Gui Qingshan immediately said, "It's a deal then." Gui Qingshan immediately gave chase. Long Fei looked at Gui Qingshan, exhaled deeply, and said, "Uncle Gui, he won't agree. Forget it. I'll go prepare first." Was just worrying about not having the chance to trample him to death, let alone Gui Qingshan begging him for mercy. Even if Yi Luxian managed to come out of seclusion, he might not necessarily agree. However, unlimited alchemy. In other words, there were no limitations. Spirit grass could be a low-level spirit grass or a divine-level spirit grass, and their pill furnaces could be iron pots or divine-level pill furnaces. Kong Dowling, Royal Alchemist. The level of alchemy spirit grass he uses is definitely not low. In terms of spirit grass S, he had the absolute advantage. Moreover, Long Fei currently did not even have a single spirit grass. First, think of a way to get into the Pill Pavilion. Pill Pavilion Peak. Spirit Grass Academy. Spirit Grass? No, not even one. Great Clan Elder, aren't you capable? Aren't you invincible in alchemy? Didn't you use grass to use your alchemy? What spirit grass do you want? You want the spirit grass? Humph. In the next life. Chapter 2382, Goodbye, Long Fei. Chapter 2382, Goodbye, Long Fei. Long Fei was kicked out of the courtyard without even going in through the main entrance of the Spirit Grass S. Moreover, all the elders of the Pill Pavilion were present, guarding the main gate of the Spirit Grass Academy with all their might. They would definitely not help Long Fei. He wanted to make Long Fei make a fool of himself. What do you mean by that? Could it be that the great clan elder of the Pill Pavilion does not even have the right to use the spirit grass? Thin Monkey said indignantly. The big bloke said indignantly, "Do you really want our boss to lose that much?" The leading elder said, "It's not that we want him to lose, it's that we want him to lose. We can't wait for him to lose, it's just that he's so conceited. What qualifications do you have to poop and pee on our heads? We'll talk about it later. He's the one who stirred up the trouble. Why should we bear the blame together?" Exactly. No spirit grass S if you're capable, why don't you use your weed's alchemy again? Arrogant in front of us, have we come across a hard rock? If you have the guts, go and win against Royal Alchemist. Other than the big size man, Thin Monkey, and Xiao Dai, no one else stood on Long Fei's side. Long Fei slightly smiled. He did not have any intention and said, "If there's no spirit grass, then there's no spirit grass. Let's go." Xiao Dai said, "Along, if you do not have a high-level spirit grass, how can you compete with that Royal Alchemy Master? He's the Royal Alchemist, the spirit grass he uses must definitely be of a very high level. If you don't have a high-level spirit grass, you will have lost half." Xiao Dai walked forward, looked at the elders of the Pill Pavilion, and said, uncles, we are all members of the Xianyu sect, we cannot just watch him lose, right? Why don't you just help him?" Just as Xiao Dai had said, without a high-level spirit grass, Long Fei would lose by half. Anyone who understood the slightest bit of alchemy would know this point. To refine a high-level pellet, a high-level spirit grass was the key. The few elders looked at each other in dismay. Several young elders replied, "If there is nothing, there is nothing. Even if he kneels down and begs us, there is nothing." Thin Monkey was annoyed. "Who do you think you are, please? Why don't you all take a look at yourselves? Let's go." Long Fei glanced at the people from the Pill Pavilion, but he was not angry, and did not feel any resentment in his heart. Maybe it was just as Gui Qingshan had said, he was being too flamboyant. Being too arrogant made many people want to embarrass themselves. Since everyone wanted to see him embarrassed. How could Long Fei let them do as they pleased? Arrogant was his personality. He walked back to the alchemy courtyard. Thin Monkey said angrily, "What are you talking about? They obviously have spirit grass in their hands, but they don't take it out, it's too much of a bully. The big boss said, "We won't give it to you. Let's go snatch it." When the thin monkey heard this, he immediately shouted, "Snatch." Long Fei said, "Don't cause any more trouble." Thin monkey said, "Boss, only half an hour is left before an hour has passed. You don't even have a single spirit grass yet, how can we compare?" Xiao Dai slightly said, "I hope that my father can persuade Kong Dowling to cancel the competition. Master Gui, it's useless even if you kneel down and kowtow. He was the one who proposed this duel. Even if I don't want my old life, I want to beat him. I, Kong Dowling, have never been humiliated like this in my entire life. If I don't teach him a lesson today, I, Kong Dowling, will write those words backwards." Kong Dowling said fiercely. He definitely wouldn't cancel the duel. Moreover, he would even use the best spirit grass he had and the highest level alchemy furnace to compete with Long Fei, and he would use all means available to crush him. He wanted Long Fei's life. Gui Qingshan said, "Elder Kong, is there really no leeway?" Kong Dowling said, "No, just tell him to prepare the coffin for himself." Xian Yu sect. In the Mystic Moon Plaza, disciples entered through various entrances. Compete with Royal Alchemist in alchemy? Is he crazy? He really doesn't know his place. Who does he think he is? He's trying to make us Xian Yu sect lose face. I don't know what he thinks. He's simply courting death. The number of disciples in the plaza increased. The entire sect was talking about the competition between Long Fei and Kong Dowling. In another place, Yi Yorong knelt on the ground with a painful look on his face. There were several bloody marks on his arm. Obviously, he had been whipped by some kind of whip. Just a moment ago, she had heard the discussions of a few disciples nearby. Not only did you fail the mission, you even lost the Ming clan's sacred artifact. Yi Yorong, do you know your fault? One of them was wearing a cloak, and his voice sounded like a devil. Yi Yorong said, "This disciple knows his wrongs. This disciple will definitely try his best to find the divine object. Elder, can you give me a land flower?" Land flower, immortal stage spirit grass. It was a spirit grass that was specially used by the Ming clan to refine earth spirit pills. This kind of spirit grass was extremely rare. This kind of spirit grass was extremely powerful. If Long Fei could get it, he could definitely beat Kong Dowling. The Ming clan elder's eyes turned sinister as he stared at Yi Yorong. "Even now, you're still thinking about that brat, and I've already told you again and again, that brat doesn't have any blood veinus, and he doesn't have any talent. He's not worthy of you, and he has no future for you. Moreover, have you forgotten your own vow? Have you forgotten your mission?" Yi Yorong hurriedly said, "This disciple did not forget. Ming clan cannot rise to prominence, and this disciple will not marry for life. Disciple owes him a favor. I just want to use the land flower to repay his kindness. From now on, I no longer have anything to do with him." The Ming clan elder was silent for a moment, then looked at Yi Yorong and asked, "Are you speaking the truth?" Yi Yorong nodded heavily, and said, "This disciple will definitely not dare to deceive elders and masters." He looked at a dark cave. Half a minute later, a land flower was lifted out of the cave by a powerful force. And then, "Yu Rong," said the voice from the cave, "it's not that master is blaming you, it's that we cannot tolerate the love between our children on the road to the rise of Ming clan. Especially you, your fate has been decided since the moment you were born." Yi Yorong held back her tears and replied, "This disciple understands." The voice from the cave resounded again, and said, "Take the land flower and from now on do not have any relation with him. I will think of a way to cure the injuries on your body." Yi Yorong received the land flower and said, "Thank you, master." And then, Yi Yorong turned around. Tears rolled down his face. It was like the rain. "Land flower? Sister Yi, is this a immortal stage spirit grass, land flower?" Xiao Dai exclaimed. Yi Yorong's expression did not change at all, and she said indifferently, "With this land flower, you should be able to beat him, right?" Long Fei looked at Yi Yorong, feeling that she was a little strange. Yi Yorong said, "I'm about to close up. God's sect gathering probably won't be coming out again until now. You have to take care of yourself." Long Fei was startled for a moment, and said, "Your injuries?" Yi Yorong said, I have my own ways. All right. I'm leaving, you all must work hard to cultivate. I'm leaving, you all must work hard to cultivate. Yi Yurong laughed lightly, looked at Long Fei, and said quietly in his heart, "Goodbye, Long Fei." Chapter 2383 You Lose. Chapter 2383 You Lose His Here. Zhao Yiqian's eyes lit up, and revealed an excited smile. Elder Kong, this match. Without waiting for Zhao Yiqian to finish speaking, Kong Dowling immediately declared, "Your Highness, don't worry, I will definitely make him lose face, and also make the Xian Yu sect lose face. Not only must he avenge Zhao Yiqian, he must also avenge the humiliation he had suffered." "All right," Zhao Yiqian said excitedly. "However, Elder Kong, this brat is a little strange. He has only trained in the alchemy technique for over a month. Don't let your guard down. I heard that you have a top-grade immortal stage spirit grass. Use it to refine a spirit pellet today." Kong Dowling trembled slightly. Only he knew that he had the immortal stage S and spirit grass, but Kong Dowling immediately replied, "Your Highness, don't worry. If you can't beat him, I'll bring my head up to meet him." Zhao Yiqian said, "I don't want your head, I want you to use a top-quality immortal stage spirit grass to defeat him. What I want is his life, do you understand?" His voice was filled with a threatening tone. Long Fei was a thorn in his flesh, and now that there was someone by his side, he definitely had to make Long Fei die. Kong Dowling clenched his teeth, and said, "All right." Long Fei walked into the profound moon plaza, saw the scene before him, and also saw Zhao Yiqian and Kong Dowling in the distance. He said slightly, "Seems like Uncle Gui did not succeed in persuading him." Xiao Dai said, "My father is serious. If we can't even settle such a small matter, then he is the sect master of the Xian Yu sect." Long Fei said, "I can't blame Uncle Gui, this matter is clearly directed at me. Moreover, in the Zhao family's eyes, Xian Yu sect is nothing." The thin monkey said, "So what if you have a mere royal alchemist with the land flower that young sect master gave you and boss's alchemy technique?" Speaking of land flower S, Long Fei's heart tightened again. He kept having the feeling that Yi Yurong was hiding something from him. After the competition, I'll go find her and at the very least thank her, Long Fei thought. Long Fei and the others walked into the plaza. Everyone uniformly looked at Long Fei, their eyes filled with the laughter of Schadenfreude. Let's see if he can continue being so lively today. Comparing alchemy with royal alchemist. You're courting death. I heard that as long as Royal Alchemist can win against Long Fei, he can take over Long Fei's position and become the great clan elder of the Pill Pavilion. Is that true? Of course it's true. My eldest cousin is in the Pill Pavilion, and that lord from the royal family said so himself. If I can consume the pills refined by the Royal Alchemist, then that would be too good. It would be enough for me to boast for the rest of my life. Long Fei, get out of Xian Yu sect. Suddenly, a voice rang out. Next. Many people agreed, Long Fei, get out of Xian Yu sect. Get out. You are not welcome here. Get out. Many disciples of the Mystic Moon Plaza angrily shouted. All of them stared at Long Fei aggressively, wishing that they could pounce on him. Long Fei turned a blind eye. He did not care about the surrounding voices. He was not living for others. However, Long Fei's patience had a limit. One of the disciples suddenly rushed out, pointed at Long Fei's nose and cursed, "Long Fei, get the hell out of here." Not waiting for him to finish, Long Fei slapped him across the face and shouted angrily, "You actually dare to call out the great elder's name, you're courting death." Pa. The disciple collapsed to the ground, blood trickling from the corner of his mouth. Without waiting for him to get up, Long Fei kicked him hard. Bam! He was sent flying with a kick. Long Fei swept his eyes across them and said solemnly, "There's still that itchy one? Come out, I'll clean this up quickly." A savage look appeared in his eyes. The surrounding people were shocked by his aura. Gui Qingshan stood up immediately and said, "All of you, quiet down." Buzz. The aura on his body stirred. The scene was instantly wiped out. Gui Qingshan looked at Long Fei, his brows secretly furrowed, and his gaze shifted towards Kong Dowling as he said, "Elder Kong, you are the royal alchemist, and there is no other alchemy master who is your match within the whole of Jiaoguo's territory. How about he apologize, admit his wrongs, and forget about this matter? Kong Dowling immediately said, "No. I said it before, I will repay the humiliation he gave me tenfold or even 100-fold. Long Fei also said, "What bullsh *T Royal Alchemist, what the hell is this? Give him an apology. It doesn't exist." Kong Dowling sneered, "You dog, you are courting death." Long Fei said, "We don't even know who is courting death. Stop talking nonsense, hurry up and start. I still have things to do." Long Fei didn't want to waste time, he wanted to find her before Yi Yorong had gone into closed-door cultivation. Kong Dowling said, "I'll explain the rules of the limitless alchemy to you first, don't not admit your loss when the time comes. Firstly, spirit grass S that are not restricted in their usage. Second, there is no restriction on the use of pill furnaces. Third." Long Fei was too lazy to explain. His right hand moved. Buzz. The true qi churned and then automatically burned. Disciple of Powder Pavilion was startled. It's this kind of alchemy technique again, there's no need for a pill furnace. At this moment. Boom. The flames on Long Fei's right palm became even hotter. With him at the center, no one within 3 meters could approach him, because it was simply too hot. Buzz. When the land flower appeared, Long Fei controlled his mind and released the alchemy technique. And at the same time, he also released the super strong alchemy technique. When the heavens and the earth were the furnace, it was naturally the fire. Intent, spiritual movement. Boom, boom, boom. Powerful energy unceasingly surged and compressed on his right hand. It was frantically being absorbed and released once again. It looked dazzling. Compared to half a month ago, Long Fei's alchemy technique was even more profound. Currently, the elders of the Pill Pavilion could not understand at all. It was too valiant. The one in his hands is the land flower. The land flower in teleportation? That's the immortal stage spirit grass. Can he control the release of the land flower's spirit liquid? Impossible, right? The immortal stage spirit grass can only be controlled by an earth rank alchemy master. Can he control it? Indeed. The higher the level of spirit grass, the stronger the alchemy realm was required. When Long Fei took out the land flower, many people were stunned, especially the elders and disciples of the Pill Pavilion. Kong Dowling also narrowed his eyes, and laughed coldly. "You can call it alchemy just like that. Refining dog poop is more like it." Rumble. An explosion sounded in the air. Long Fei's eyes turned sinister and his entire body started to tremble uncontrollably. The power on his palm started to surge crazily and the true qi flame started to devour him, entering his land flower S. The spirit liquid began to be released. This speed was extremely fast. In just 3 seconds. Long Fei suddenly shouted, "Done." On his palm, the spirit liquid was like glue as it slowly condensed together. It was also at this time. Long Fei shouted loudly, "Transformers. Roar." Once the Transformers was summoned, Long Fei said, "Watch him closely. If he dares to not accept the debt, directly eliminate him." Finished. Long Fei then walked away. Chapter 2384 Royal Alchemist S Explosion. Chapter 2384 Royal Alchemist S Explosion. A wild one. The fierce one against the fierce one. Without even looking at what the other party had forged, he had left. Moreover, the entire audience was stunned. The land flower. The immortal stage S were completed in an instant. From Long Fei's start to the end, there was not even a minute left. What kind of alchemy technique was this? Kong Dowling was completely dumbfounded by Long Fei. His jaw dropped. This. Success. Kong Dowling looked at the pill on Long Fei's table. He was in disbelief. At this moment, Zhao Etian let out a heavy shout, and said, "Stop him." Several guards ran over anxiously and blocked Long Fei's path, and shouted, "The competition is not over, you cannot leave." The shocked crowd came back to their senses. How can you leave before the competition is over? I think he feels that he's definitely going to lose, so he might as well escape, right? Definitely. Can alchemy be like his? This medicinal pill is definitely a waste pill. Kid, don't be in such a hurry to leave. A large group of disciples surrounded him. Zhao Yiqian bellowed, Long Fei, Master Kong has not cultivated yet. What right do you have to say that you have one? Furthermore, what is the grade of the pill you refined? You think that Master Kong will lose to you? Long Fei turned around slightly and looked coldly at the distant Zhao Yiqian. Just ask him if he's capable of refining a heaven stage pellet. Finished. Long Fei's eyes turned sinister as he looked at the disciples blocking his way. With a heavy voice, he said, You better get out of the way, or else I'll make it so that you won't be able to get up from the ground. Scram. Wang. His aura shook, and all the guards looked at each other in dismay before they slowly retreated. Kong Dowling's gaze tensed up. Not just him. The disciples and elders of the Pill Pavilion, and even Gui Qingshan's expression changed inwardly. Heaven rank spirit pellet? Kong Dowling sneered, Do you think heaven stage is all you can get? Then the pill that I am refining is a god tier pill. Zhao Yiqian said, Stop talking nonsense, hurry up and refine it, remember. You must refine a heaven rank pill. Huh? Kong Dowling was surprised for a moment, and said, Your Highness, I am only an earth rank alchemy master, how can I refine heaven rank pellets? Zhao Yiqian shouted, I don't care about that, you're going to come out even if you die. Because the feeling Long Fei gave him was, that pill could really be a heaven rank pill. Kong Dowling's mind tightened as he gently exhaled, clearing his mind of all distracting thoughts. He immediately said, Kid, I'll let you clearly see what's called alchemy. Buzz. A huge cauldron appeared. There were powerful fire runes on top of the pill furnace, and without using the true qi, the pill furnace had started burning and it gave off a strong aura of fire. The two most important factors of alchemy, spirit grass and flame. The grade of this pill furnace was at least heaven stage. Everyone was slightly surprised. Kong Dowling was more earnest than ever before. When he took out 2 immortal stage spirit grass, he was also giving it his all. He was very clear about the position Zhao Yiqian had in the Empress's heart. If he failed, forget about Zhao Yiqian, even the Empress would not let him off. Boom. His robe fluttered and an explosive sound reverberated throughout his body. At this moment, Long Fei didn't even look at them as he walked out of the profound moon plaza in large strides. Zhao Yiqian also did not continue stopping them, because Xian Yu sect was also one of his people, so Long Fei couldn't escape no matter what. Now, all he had to do was refine a heaven stage pill. Once a heaven stage pellet was refined, it could be said that it was higher quality than the pellets Long Fei refined. Then, it could openly take Long Fei's life. Zhao Yiqian stared deadly at Kong Dowling. He had to say it. Zhao Guo's first alchemy master was indeed well deserved of his reputation. His alchemy technique and the control over his spirit liquid had almost perfect control over his flames. Kong Dowling was completely focused. The beads of sweat on his forehead rolled down. It was unknown whether it was because he was too nervous or because the immortal stage spirit grass was hard to control, but his body couldn't help but slightly tremble. Boom. Boom. The enormous pill furnace continued to emit buzzing sounds. Black flames continued to appear. After 5 minutes, Kong Dowling's entire body was drenched, and his true qi was in a state of exhaustion. The pair of empty eyes stared at him and shouted, Done. Rumble. 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 A series of explosions could be heard. Next, a ball of black smoke emerged from the pill furnace, and the flame inside it turned crimson. Boom. The entire pill furnace exploded into the sky. Bam! It broke into pieces and fell down one by one. The furnace exploded. Hualala! Kong Dowling also fell on his butt, his face pale white. Looking at the exploded pill furnace, it was as if his heart was dripping blood. At the same time, his gaze slowly turned to Zhao Yiqian, and looking at Zhao Yiqian who was trying to devour him, he kneeled down suddenly and said, Please spare me, Your Highness. I am only an earth-rank alchemy master. I am completely unable to refine heaven-rank pellets. Your Highness, have mercy. Your Highness, have mercy. Gui Qingshan stood up and said, Master Kong, the furnace exploded. Even those who didn't understand alchemy knew the meaning of explosion. This meant that his alchemy had failed. Kong Dowling's eyes turned sinister, and he immediately shouted, "So what if the furnace explodes? What can your little Xian Yu sect do to me? Don't forget, I am a royal alchemist. Let alone you, my Xian Yu sect, even the #1 sect of Zhaoguo wouldn't dare to touch a single hair on my head." Gui Qingshan laughed. "I am only reminding you, your furnace exploded, so you lost." Kong Dowling's eyes turned sinister, and became angry from embarrassment. "What did you lose? How could that kid defeat me? Even if I explode, what about him? What kind of pill can he forge? Heaven stage? Bullshit, he can refine heaven stage pellets with just a spirit grass? Who would believe it?" Kong Dowling said fiercely. Gui Qingshan laughed. "Right now, even if the pellet that he has refined is a grade 1 pellet, it would still be of a higher grade than the pellet that you have refined. So, you still lost." He did not care what kind of heaven-ranked spirit pill Long Fei refined, or if it was a grade 1 spirit pill. If Kong Dowling blew up the furnace, then he would lose, and the thing that he could not refute was the truth. Kong Dowling was speechless. Looking at the pill on the great Long Fei's table, he leaped. Boom! It directly landed in front of Long Fei's pill platform, grabbed hold of the idea which Long Fei had refined and said with disdain, "I want to see what kind of bullsh** tea is your so-called heaven rank pellet." Before he could finish his words, his expression froze. His entire body seemed to have been struck by lightning as he stood on the spot, motionless and lifeless. This is impossible. He cannot concoct a heaven step spirit pill. Absolutely impossible. As soon as he finished, the entire audience was in an uproar. It was also at this time. A heavy breathing sounded out from behind Kong Dowling. The Transformers was staring straight at him. Chapter 2385 If you don't leave, you will die. Chapter 2385 If you don't leave, you will die. Ah! In the sky above Mystic Moon Plaza, a pig-like howl sounded out. Kong Dowling was like a wheel that was being rolled over by the Transformers, rolling down from the Mystic Moon Hall all the way to the bottom of the mountain. During the process of refining the land flower, Long Fei felt that it possessed a powerful strength. Its healing power, Long Fei thought. Because he thought about the wound on Yi Yorong's abdomen. Using the land flower as a guide, and finding a few stalks of immortal stage S to heal, he might even be able to cure the limitless burning sword's poison wound. This was also the reason. Long Fei then left immediately to find Yi Yorong, wanting to tell her about this matter. Hearing the screams coming from the sky above the profound moon plaza, Long Fei did not react on purpose. He was not interested in killing Kong Dowling, he only wanted to see Yi Yorong. Xian Yu sect, Rear Mountain. This place was hailed as the forbidden grounds of the Xian Yu sect. It was a place where some of the senior clan elders of Xian Yu sect or sect masters closed their doors for cultivation. Long Fei did not bother about any forbidden grounds as he directly walked in. Just right. Seeing Yi Yorong walk into a cave, Long Fei immediately shouted, "You roam." As soon as he finished, a deep voice exploded from the forbidden ground. Before Long Fei could react, the thick pressure seemed to surge out from hell itself. It instantly crushed him. Who dares to trespass? His strength was extremely powerful. His aura was strong and powerful. However, Long Fei was incomparably familiar with it. Power of Nether, Ming clan. Yi Yorong also stopped. He immediately turned around and looked at Long Fei. Seeing that big Long Fei was being suppressed by a powerful force, he immediately said, "Senior Master, stop." Buzz. A black shadow descended. He stood in front of Long Fei. The black shadow's eyes flashed with a cold glint. He stared coldly at Long Fei, and said, "You roam, is that him?" Cluck, cluck, cluck. Long Fei clenched his teeth, and said, "I hate pressure, it's amazing that you have such a high realm." Boom. He immediately took out the sky sword and waved it down. Buzz. Rumble. Without waiting for Long Fei's sky sword to descend, yet another wave of pressure came crushing down. His mind could not take it any longer, and his internal injuries tumbled, as he spat out a mouthful of fresh blood. What Long Fei found strange was, the sky sword was actually useless. In the past, no matter how strong the pressure was, even if it was Ming Yu's pressure, the sky sword would still be able to eliminate it. He couldn't withstand that sword attack at all. The sky sword seemed to have lost all its power. Long Fei's heart sank. What's going on? Never could it be. Was the sky sword injured? Impossible. He was the #1 divine sword of the universal realm. Who could harm him? Besides, he is a sword. How could he possibly be injured? Long Fei muttered to himself, unable to understand. At that time, he was unconscious. He had no idea that the sky sword had entered from behind the stone door. What did he encounter? Not to mention Long Fei, even the sky sword themselves did not know about it. However, it was also because of that strike that the sky sword was heavily injured. Without enough time for Long Fei to think, the black-robed old man took a step forward and instantly appeared in front of Long Fei. His pitch-black palm moved, and directly struck Long Fei's chest. Buzz! Bam! The strong power of the netherworld Udumbara flower exploded, causing Long Fei to retreat. The old man quickly pushed forward and directly pushed Long Fei onto a rock, as he said with cold contempt, "What can a trash like you do?" Poochie. His chest split open, and his internal organs tumbled as he spat out another mouthful of blood. The spring of life rapidly recovered Long Fei's health point. However, the pressure from the old man was crushing him, and it was extremely uncomfortable. Talent, no talent. If you want blood vein, there are no blood vein. What qualifications do you have to be with Yorong? If you stay with her, you will only delay her. You are not worthy of her. The old man's disdainful voice reached deep into Long Fei's heart. Long Fei felt very uncomfortable. His entire body was trying to block it with all its might. He couldn't take it. The pressure was too strong, and even Long Fei's body was trembling. Boom! An explosion sounded from within Long Fei's body, and he let out a heavy roar. Ah! He roared in his heart. Arrogant God energy value, explode for me. Boom! 100 arrogant God energy value S exploded in Long Fei's body. At this moment, the energy in Long Fei's body also started to surge crazily. The old man in black was slightly surprised. After being crushed by his oppressive aura, he was still able to unleash such a powerful force. In the instant that he was shocked. Boom! Long Fei suddenly rushed forward, his fists sinking, he threw them out. Bam! It landed directly on the chest of the black-robed elder, who was even more shocked as he barked, "Little bastard, you dare to attack me? You're courting death." Before he could even finish the word die, Long Fei's fists shot out like a violent storm. Bang, bang, bang. It was as fast as lightning. The black-robed elder was forced to continuously retreat, his hands protecting his chest, staring straight at Long Fei. The powerful pressure also continued to crush at Long Fei. However, it was completely useless. Long Fei instantly turned into a madman. He didn't have enough pressure. The black-robed old man also tried to attack Long Fei, trying to repel him. This won't do either, because he did not even bother to dodge Long Fei's attack. It was tough. Moreover, no matter how hard he tried to hit Long Fei, it seemed as if Long Fei would not be injured at all. "And what kind of talent are you? And what kind of blood vein are you? Who do you think you are?" Long Fei scolded back heavily. He directly smashed the old man onto the rock wall and pressed him down with his elbow. His eyes were burning with rage as he said, "You dare to crush your father? You think you're worthy?" Yi Zichen retracted his gaze. And then, Long Fei's fist once again struck out like a violent storm. Without even giving the black-robed old man a chance to catch his breath, he knew very well that if the black-robed old man had another chance to do so, he would be the one to lose. Bang, 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 bang. The originally powerful old man could only passively defend. Moreover, his face was pale and his internal organs were all shifting in place. All of them were in great pain. The stench of blood assaulted his throat, and he was unable to hold it in any longer. A mouthful of blood sprayed out. Long Fei bellowed, "You say I am not worthy? You don't even have the right to say that I'm your father." Boom! Another punch. Blood spurted out of the old man's mouth as his body slid down the wall, looking extremely miserable. Long Fei stared at him and said coldly, Keep F*** king acting arrogantly for your father. Before he could finish. Within the cave. A deep voice rang out. Enough. Wang Long. The entire forbidden ground was trembling. Yi Yorong also instantly knelt on the ground, looked at Long Fei and said, hurry and go. Long Fei recovered his expression and said with a smile, I found a way to cure the poison. Yi Yorong shook his head and said, Long Fei, I'm begging you. Long Fei was startled. Yi Yorong immediately started crying, if you don't leave, you will die. Chapter 2386. Chapter 2386. If you don't leave now, you will die. Yi Yorong cried her heart out, and said loudly. Because. She knew her master's personality very well. Anyone who obstructed the rise of the Ming clan would not be forgiven. Killing. No matter who it was, no matter what relationship Yi Yorong had, as long as they obstructed her plans, she would make this person disappear from the world. When Long Fei saw Yi Yorong crying her heart out, and her tears, Long Fei felt as if his heart had been pierced by hundreds of needles. It was very painful, very painful. The pain of being unable to breathe. Long Fei said gently, there is no one in this world who can force you to do something you don't want to do. As long as you nod your head, I will bring you away immediately. Humph. Just as Long Fei finished speaking, a snort came out from the cave. What a good, I'll take you away immediately. In that instant. Buzz. There was a muffled sound in the cave, and in the next second. Holding the Buddhist dust in one hand and wearing a black robe on his body, a massive netherworld aura gushed forth like a raging river. A step landed in front of Long Fei. It was also at this moment. Bam! The netherworld spiritual aura pounced like a wild beast. Long Fei's body instantly shot outwards and the netherworld aura was like a nail, pinning Long Fei's body onto the stone wall as his entire body floated in the air. Is this the strength you brought her away with you? The old lady stared at Long Fei. Too strong. Long Fei had never encountered such a powerful force. The time at the arrogant god energy value continued, but, however, he didn't have any time to react and was immediately bound. His heart was shocked. Long Fei stared at the old lady, and said, you are Rong's master? Yi Yorong also started to panic, as he anxiously kneeled forward and said, Master, I will listen to you, and from today onwards, I will never meet him again. I beg you, please let him go. I swear to God. Yi Yorong's voice trembled slightly, because she knew that Master would really kill Long Fei. The old woman said coldly, the best way to never meet again is to disappear from this world. Buzz. His aura turned sinister as the power of Nether surged. It condensed into a pitch-black spear. The spear shone with a cold light. It floated in front of the old lady. As long as she used a little more strength, the spear would be able to pierce through Long Fei's head. When Yi Yorong saw the black pike, he became even more flustered and said, Master, I beg you, let him go. I will definitely do more than that. I swear to God, I will never meet him again, I beg you. Long Fei clenched his fists tightly. Sky Sword, what happened to you today? How come he doesn't have any power at all? Long Fei was unhappy. Very unhappy. Even if it was her master, Long Fei would still not be happy for his woman kneeling to others. Long Fei shouted, Old Granny, if you have the guts, then kill me now. You're courting death. A cold light flashed in the old woman's eyes. Buzz. The binding power on Long Fei suddenly tightened. Ah! Long Fei could not help but let out a miserable scream. His entire body felt as though it was being sucked in by a strong pressure. His bones, tendons, veins and even the blood in his veins were all twitching and squeezing. Cluck, 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 cluck. All the bones in his body were contracting, cracking, and cracking. Long Fei's body was also shrinking rapidly. The old lady looked at Long Fei's painful expression and laughed. With your cultivation, you want to kill me? Laughable, truly laughable. You Rong, is this the man you like? No talent if you want one. If I wanted a blood vein, there are no blood vein. He is much weaker than the crown prince of the Zhao family. If I were you, even if I chose a crown prince, I would not choose him. The old woman said coldly. Talent. Blood vein. Determining one's martial arts training's fate. Decide whether or not a person can reach the top. In the eyes of the old granny, Long Fei had no future at all in the martial arts training. Even if he was lucky enough to break through quickly, it was useless. Even if you have some power in the Zhenwu continent, but if her Ming clan wanted to rise up and fight against the god's tribe, how could her mortal body fight against it? No matter how she looked at it, the old lady did not like Long Fei. Without waiting for Long Fei to speak, the old granny then continued, "Yu Rong, Zhao Haoqian's life is in ruins, but the Zhao family did not break off the engagement. I hope that you can enter the Zhao family to cultivate the Emperor's qi. This way you will be able to cultivate faster and the power of the Dark Phoenix will be better displayed." Yi Yurong shook his head and said, "Master, I am not going to the Zhao family, I will not go. The Zhao family are the dogs of the god's tribe, the Ming clan and us are irreconcilable. Even if I die, I will not go to the Zhao family." Actually, the old woman spoke very clearly. His meaning was to let Yi Yurong continue marrying Zhao Haoqian, whose life force had been crippled. What kind of master is this? When Long Fei heard this, his anger surged. He roared angrily and said, "Old granny, why didn't you ***king marry that old eunuch Zhao Chongshan? You want your disciple to marry a eunuch, do you think you're worthy of being her master? Is there a master like you in the world?" Before his life, he crazily recovered Long Fei's health point. Long Fei could barely endure it. "How dare you?" the old woman shouted, "It seems like your lesson is not enough." Buzz. The black spear moved. Shua. It directly pierced towards the center of Long Fei's brows. Yi Yurong's eyes narrowed, and immediately said, "I'll marry." The spear was just half a centimeter away from Long Fei's forehead, and the sinister cold qi seemed to have entered Long Fei's mind, as the temperature of Long Fei's entire body continued to drop. The old lady put away the idea and the black spear instantly disappeared, as she revealed a satisfied smile and said, "Yu Rong, Zhao Haoqian has already been crippled, and can't do anything to you. Furthermore, you entered the Zhao family to cultivate the Emperor's qi, which can allow you to break through even faster. As for the wounds on your body, don't worry, even if I can't treat them, I will help you cover them up. As long as it's not Zhao Chongshan, Zhao Wuji will not be able to discover them." Long Fei looked at Yi Yurong and said, "Yurong, no." Yi Yurong did not look at Long Fei, and said, "Thank you, Master." "Master, can you let him go now?" The old lady looked at Long Fei coldly, and the idea moved. The binding power of the netherworld Udumbara flower vanished as Long Fei fell from mid-air. In that instant, Long Fei held onto the sky sword and rushed towards the old lady, roaring in his heart, "Sky sword, I need strength, I need strength." Without waiting for Long Fei to get close, the old granny rolled up her sleeves and directly swept Long Fei away. Bam! Smashing into the rock wall, Long Fei spat out a mouthful of blood. Long Fei rushed out once again, fairy from heaven. Shua! The sword moved and leaped into the air. But they could not allow Long Fei to fall. Boom! Another powerful power of nether knocked Long Fei flying. Forbidden, profound mysteries. Shua! Long Fei's figure disappeared and was directly locked onto the old lady. However, without waiting for Long Fei's attack to come out, the moment they got close, they were sent flying by the strong power of nether on the old lady's body, and once again collided against the wall. Fart! Another mouthful of blood sprayed out. Humph! Trash will always be trash, that's all you can do in this life, understand? The old woman disdainfully sneered. Chapter 2387, Kong Dowling Explosion. Chapter 2387, Kong Dowling Explosion. In the old granny's heart, Long Fei was sentenced to death. A person without inherent skill that did not have a blood vein would not even enter her eyes. Adding on Yi Yurong's gifted soul of underworld, she would be even less interested in Long Fei. She had cultivated for more than 100 years. She was very clear that if a person did not have talent or the strength of a blood vein, that person would be like this for their entire life. If he couldn't even break through the Zhenwu realm, then he would have no way of even breaking through the void and entering the universal realm. Against the god's tribe? That was even more impossible. Yi Yurong was her only hope. She did not want anyone to stop Yi Yorong from advancing forward. She was Ming Feng, the dark phoenix of the Ming clan. Her world was not the Zhenwu continent, but the universal realm. The feeling of being mocked was truly annoying, and it was infuriating to be called trash. Long Fei clenched his fists tightly, his nails digging into his flesh, and blood started dripping down. His eyes were bloodshot as he stared at the old lady. Level. The difference was too great. The old granny's cultivation was at least at Zhenwu realm, who was an existence that Long Fei couldn't surmount at the moment. No matter what kind of technique he used, no matter what kind of power he used, he couldn't beat her. Unless he still had the universal soul, however. The universal soul had already been used up. If there was still more, Long Fei would not hesitate to destroy her. The old granny looked at Long Fei's furious and unreconciled eyes, and laughed. Kid, if it wasn't for Yurong being dead now, I would also warn you, you are not allowed to get involved with Yurong anymore. If you let me find out, I will definitely make you die an ugly death. Do you understand? Long Fei looked at Yi Yorong and asked, what is your master's cultivation level? Yi Yorong's tears had already dried. Her eyes were somewhat empty as she stood up from the ground and said softly, Long Fei, you may leave. Long Fei asked again, tell me, what is your master's cultivation level? Yi Yorong knew what Long Fei wanted to do, but surpassing her master? This was an impossibility. In this world, there were only a few people who were stronger than her master. Surpass her? It was even more impossible. Moreover, she also possessed the powerful blood vein strength in the Ming clan. Let's go. Take good care of yourself in the future. After he finished speaking, Yi Yorong walked toward the cave. Long Fei shouted loudly, tell me. Yi Yorong did not turn back. From the very beginning, she knew that it was impossible between her and Long Fei. She wouldn't be able to marry in her entire life, and her mission wouldn't allow her to waste time on other things. However, she had never thought that she would marry someone for strength, marry someone to break through, or marry a eunuch whose lifeblood had been destroyed. Her heart ached. However, at this moment, he was already numb to it. The moment she agreed to it, her heart had died. Not only did she close the door to Long Fei's life, she also closed it to anyone. Half a moment. Yi Yorong's figure disappeared into the cave. The old lady coldly looked at Long Fei, and said with a sneer, you are just an ordinary mortal. A mortal should do what a mortal should. You roam and you are destined to be people from different worlds. Boy, wake up. In a few months, she will be the crown prince's consort. She will cultivate the imperial qi of the Zhao family, and quickly break through, displaying the power of the gifted soul of Underworld. And you? Heh. It was just a small sect's pill pavilion elder, but it seemed like the day of the sect's monthly rules was in a few days. You don't even have a single pill on you, and your position as an elder of the pill pavilion has come to an end. Ha ha ha. The old woman loudly laughed. Boy, this is fate. Do you know? Some people are destined to never be able to get up, and you are one of them. Ha ha ha. The old woman laughed as she disappeared into the cave. At this moment, Long Fei was very angry. He was incomparably furious, but his heart was calmer than ever, incomparably calm. He looked in the direction the old lady disappeared to. I swear, I'll definitely kill you, Long Fei said solemnly. The black robe man who had been violently beaten by Long Fei stood up and said coldly, she is the Emperor Zhenwu's realm, you want to defeat her? You'd better wake up. And, if you can't give out monthly pills in a few days, you won't even be able to stay in the Xianyu sect. Do you want to surpass a High Lord? Emperor Zhenwu's realm? The strongest existence in the Zhenwu continent. Black Robe Man glanced at Long Fei. And then, he walked away. Long Fei was the only one left in the Forbidden Grounds. The true martial emperor, right? Long Fei's eyes turned sinister as he said, I will also do the same. Yorong. Wait for me, no one can make you do something you don't like. Long Fei said solemnly, because you are my woman. The yellow exclamation mark above his head had not yet been activated. He believed that Yi Yorong definitely had a mission on him, and also, It might even be one of his 7 merits missions. Boss. Long Fei. Boss. A few shouts came from outside the forbidden area. Long Fei recovered his composure and walked out. After Long Fei left the forbidden grounds. Not long later, the system suddenly beeped. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing Kong Dowling, for gaining 1 million experience, 10,000 true chi points, 5 arrogant god energy value. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining the spirit grass. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining this elixir. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining secret technique, mysterious pill technique. Do you wish to cultivate it? Heh! How strange. Could it be that this royal alchemist got lost by himself? It can't be. No matter what, he is still at the spirit refinement realm, so wouldn't he die if he were to scram a few times? Long Fei felt that it was strange. However, without much thought, he walked into the forbidden area with large strides. In another place. On a barren hillside. General, the traitor Kong Dowling has been eliminated. Miao Chong said excitedly. Back then, one of the imperial family suffered a few deaths from his poison. Today, we can finally take revenge. Gui Qingshan nodded his head, and said, after so many years, it can be considered as doing something that is worthy of the Wei family's ancestors. But Gui Qingshan frowned and said, this matter will probably make Long Fei's situation even more difficult. The Zhao family will definitely target him, and this time, Kong Dowling is not the only one. This was what Gui Qingshan was worried about. Killing Kong Dowling was indeed a satisfying thing, but Long Fei would find it even more difficult, and this was what Gui Qingshan did not want to see. Miao Chong also tightened the center of his brows, and said, if I had known this would happen, I would have endured it a little longer. This Long Fei brat is really incredible. In just half a month's time, he broke through from the qi refining stage to the essence condensation stage, and is even at the 5th stage of the essence condensation realm. Too strong. Give him some more time, he's about to ascend to heaven. Gui Qingshan said slightly, so, we can't let anything happen to him. Miao Chong immediately nodded, General, don't worry, I will arrange for someone to protect him. Chapter 2388 Mutant Pill Techniques. Chapter 2388 Mutant Pill Techniques Alchemy Courtyard. Along, did you find the Sister Yi? Xiao Dai asked in concern. Long Fei laughed and said, I saw it. She's in seclusion. He did not mention what had happened in the forbidden area. He did not want anyone to worry about him. Oh. Xiao Dai did not ask any further. Long Fei thought about the matter of Kong Dowling's death and could not help but ask, did Kong Dowling scram to his death? Speaking of Kong Dowling, the thin monkey became excited, and said excitedly, Boss, you really haven't seen that scene, it's so explosive, ha ha ha. Kong Dowling still wanted to resist, but was instantly crushed by the Transformers. He didn't have a choice, and Zhao Etian didn't even look at him once, ha ha ha. That feels so good. In the end, you can only roll off the profound Moon Plaza in front of all the disciples of the sect. Do you know how far away the profound Moon Plaza is from the Xianyu Sect's mountain gate? It's a whole 18 kilometers, and all the way there are steps. The speed of the steps is like the wheels of a car, ha ha ha. Thin Monkey could not help but laugh. Long Fei also laughed, and said, and the last? Is he dead? Thin Monkey said, no, I didn't expect this old fellow to be so resistant. After being hit by Transformers a few times, he is already severely injured, and even after rolling 18 kilometers away, he isn't dead yet. He sure is lucky. Xiao Dai interrupted, even though he had entered the Dao through pills, he is still considered a powerhouse of the spirit refinement realm, how could he die that easily? He didn't die. Long Fei had some doubts in his heart. He could confirm that Kong Dowling had died, so the system would not make a mistake. You didn't die. He must have been killed. Who was it? Was Zhao Etian angry and killed him? Or was there someone else? Long Fei was too lazy to think about it. Xiao Dai said, Along, this is a pill that you refined with a land flower. Is it really a heaven rank pill? Long Fei looked at the pill in Xiao Dai's hand and said, Big sister Xiao Dai, this is for you to refine. In addition, Long Fei took out the Peacock King's egg and said, this is also for you. This is a Peacock King's egg, I wonder when it will hatch again. Wow, what a beautiful egg. Xiao Dai immediately received it, full of joy, as he held it in his hands. The Peacock King egg trembled slightly, and Xiao Dai became even happier. And then, Long Fei took out the golden holy body and said, Big guy, this is yours. The golden holy body was a phantom-like golden bronze statue. The bronze statue's body was filled with acupuncture points. Golden. This was a divine-level sacred body. Not only did it possess divine-level talent, it also had a holy vein. Moreover, it's more suitable for a big guy. The large man was slightly surprised. Boss, I can't accept such a precious item. You keep it for yourself. He was not stupid. He could tell that the golden holy body was good stuff, so he naturally couldn't take it. Long Fei said, I told you to take it, so take it. You have to do it for me, God's sect gathering. You have to give me a huge boost, understand? The big guy scratched his head and said innocently, me for sure. Long Fei looked at Thin Monkey again and said, this is yours. Long Fei took out the black spirit holy body again and said, you two, you three are all the same. Must let those people have a good look at your might. And I might need your help when the time comes. The old lady had said that Yi Yorong would be married to Zhao Haotian in a few months. If Long Fei's guess was not wrong, it would be on God's sect gathering. He had to be prepared. He absolutely could not allow his woman to marry a eunuch. The three of them nodded and said, yes. After all, Xiao Dai was very sensitive, and could not help but ask, Along, are you going to leave? Is there something you're hiding from us? Long Fei said, there's nothing much, just cultivate properly for me. If you can't reach my expectations in God's sect gathering, then I won't forgive you. With these things, even a fool could take off. 2 deities saints. A Peacock King egg plus a heaven stage pill. It was hard not to take off. All right. All of you should go train in seclusion. Long Fei urged. As they spoke, they pushed the three of them out. Xiao Dai and the other two were extremely excited. All of these treasures made them wish that they could immediately cultivate, and all of a sudden, forget about the monthly pellets. After they left, a disciple of Powder Pavilion walked into the alchemy courtyard and respectfully said, Great Clan Elder, the 9 elders of the Pill Pavilion requests an audience. Long Fei was startled, then laughed, requesting an audience. It's not like them. Disciple of Powder Pavilion said, Great Clan Elder, you did not see the shocked looks on your face when you finished refining the heaven stage pellet. Your mouth was so wide that it could fit a duck's egg. They are prostrating themselves before you now, so they won't dare to underestimate you anymore. A heaven step spirit pill. Other than the holy plea, it was a supreme existence. In the whole of Zhaoguo's territory, there was not a single alchemy master who was able to refine a heaven stage pellet. How could he not worship them? Long Fei thought for a moment, then said, let them wait outside the courtyard. Disciple of Powder Pavilion said, they seem to be in a hurry, and furthermore, the second clan elder said that he had already refined a batch of monthly pellets as a precaution and brought a lot of spirit grass s. Great Clan Elder, what do you think? Long Fei said, let them wait. Disciple of Powder Pavilion did not dare to say more, and immediately said, Disciple will do as you say. He immediately ran out. Now you know how amazing I am. Do you worship your father now? If I don't let you wait a few more days, won't I lose face? Long Fei smiled faintly. In his heart, he didn't blame the disciple of Powder Pavilion or the elders. If he was once Yi Changfeng's disciple, or even an elder of the Pill Pavilion, he would also blame the person who killed the great elder of the Pill Pavilion. As for alchemy, the alchemy that Long Fei had grasped had completely overturned the level of alchemy of this world, so it was normal for it to be difficult to accept. The reason why he didn't want to see her was not because he was angry or to lose face. He didn't want to waste that time. Unique pill art. A secret skill that is able to break down medicinal pills, fuse them together, and refine them. If it's combined with the alchemy technique that I have, then the improvement and disintegration of the pills into multiple pills won't be a big problem. Actually, Long Fei was not worried about the Yu Mu spirit pill. One must know, he had obtained thousands of military pills from the members of the Jew's army's beast army. These kind of spiritual pills were much better than those refined in the Xianyu sect's pill pavilion. If they really couldn't do it, then they would just release the pills. In any case, the Jew family knew about it, so there was no need for Long Fei to hide it. However, now that he had the unique pill technique, it was different. These military pills all used high-level spirit grass S. If they could decompose and refine them, then they would be able to refine even more and produce even more high-quality spirit pills. This was what Long Fei wanted to do. He walked into the alchemy room. Long Fei quickly entered the alchemy mode. 1 day, 2 days, 3 days. For an entire 3 days, Long Fei did not stop, turning a few thousand military pills into 20,000 new pills, and trying his best. The moment he walked out of the alchemy room, Long Fei was like a dragon that had lived for several tens of years. Mental strength and physical strength were both too overtaxed. When the disciple of Powder Pavilion saw Long Fei coming out, he immediately went forward and said, "Great Elder, the matter regarding the exquisite moon pill, Second Elder and the others have already been prepared." Long Fei waved his hand. "You don't need them. This should be my mission. The pills here should be enough to last until God's sect gathering." Long Fei took out a prepared space ring. Disciple of Powder Pavilion was surprised for a moment, and said, "God's sect gathering still has a few more months to go. How many pills are there?" Long Fei asked, "What's your name?" Disciple of Powder Pavilion said, "My name is Tong Ling, I'm a new alchemy apprentice." Long Fei said, "From today onwards, you are the acting Great Elder of the Pill Pavilion. Everything will be decided by you." Tong Ling was dumbfounded. Long Fei looked into the sky and muttered, "It's time to go out and gain some experience. God's sect gathering. True martial emperors. I must break through quickly. Thank you for your support." Chapter 2389 Entering the Wilderness. Chapter 2389 Entering the Wilderness. The 4th day was also the day that the monthly pills were distributed. However, on this day, Long Fei left without a sound. At the window where the monthly elixirs were distributed, there was a sea of people waiting, whether it was the disciples of the Xianyu sect or the elders. Many people wanted to see Long Fei become a joke. However, when they received their monthly pills, they were all shocked. Grade 8 Spirit Pellet. Oh my god, am I dreaming? I actually received a Tier 8 Spirit Building Pill. One must know that the best Spirit Building Pill in the past was only a Tier 3, but now it was a Tier 8. Quick, hold me, I can't take it anymore. What is mine is a Grade 9 Spirit Dan. What's going on? What's the situation? Has the Pill Pavilion released the bottom line? Who refined this pill? Does the Pill Pavilion have such a powerful alchemy master? A lot of people were screaming. Because they did not have much hope in the beginning, as they knew that even if Long Fei had alchemy, he would not be able to concoct that many pills. However, now, not only were there plenty of pills, he would even give one more than usual. Furthermore, the quality of the pills was terrifyingly high. It made them feel like they were dreaming. Suddenly, one of the elders looked excited as his eyes flashed. Earth, tier spiritual pill. This is the first time in my life that I've taken an Earth tier spiritual pill. Tears streamed down his face as he spoke. He was so excited that tears were flowing out of his eyes. It was also at this time that elder walked up to him and asked, "Who refined this spirit pellet? I want to thank him, and I want to thank him personally." An elder from the Pill Pavilion revealed a smile. He was very proud and pleased with himself. His arrogance wasn't that of a superior cultivator, but that of a person from the Pill Pavilion peak. He loudly said, "All of the pills today were personally concocted by our great elder. All of the disciples are grade 8 spirit dans. All of the elders are earth grade 1s. As soon as he finished, the entire audience was stunned. The great elder of the Pill Pavilion? Who is it? Is that so? Who is the great elder of the Pill Pavilion? Didn't Yi Changfeng die? Could it be? It can't be. Is it that brat? The Pill Pavilion's elder shouted again. Your guess is right, it's great clan elder Long Fei. These pills were all refined by him. The entire venue quieted down. Many people began to lower their heads. They felt very ashamed. Many of them came to see Long Fei as a joke, but Long Fei was using such a method to repay them. How could they not be ashamed? Sigh. We were once against great clan elder Long Fei, but now he is treating us with such kindness. From today onwards, whoever says anything bad about great clan elder Long Fei will be killed by him. I'll fight him too. I'll do my best too. Great clan elder Long Fei, great clan elder Long Fei. All of a sudden, the entire audience was shouting out Long Fei's name. His voice rumbled in the sky. On a barren hillside, Gui Qingshan looked into the distance with his hands behind his back. Not long later, Miao Chong walked over in a hurry, hugged his hand slightly, and said, I couldn't find it. Gui Qingshan's brows tightened, and asked, where did he go? Miao Chong said, Great General, today's monthly pellets were released. I heard that the disciples of Xian Yu sect received pellets of the 8th rank and the elders received pellets of the Earth rank. All of these were made by Long Fei alone. Isn't this too unbelievable? Gui Qingshan said indifferently, he has always been creating miracles. I have always felt that he was unfathomable, but I realized that I was wrong. He is not someone we can see through. Huff. After Gui Qingshan finished speaking, he let out a long sigh. He had always felt that Long Fei had great potential. But he discovered he couldn't see through Long Fei at all. Miao Chong asked, what do we do now? Shall we send someone to find him? Gui Qingshan shook his head, no need. Although I don't know why he left, I believe he will definitely come back. Long Fei, you should be preparing for the God's Sect gathering, right? Gui Qingshan guessed that Long Fei had suffered some sort of stimulation. Otherwise, he would definitely not abandon his brothers and his only son. There were still 3 months until God's Sect gathering. 3 months. What kind of changes can you bring about? Gui Qingshan's eyes lit up. I am so looking forward to it. After a long time, Gui Qingshan said, it's time for us to prepare. Miao Chong revealed an excited expression. He cupped his fists and said, as you command. 10 days later. Boom. Boom. Rumble. Transformers was like a wild bull that had been going berserk. Within the mountain range, he was like a king. A level 9 peak demon beast, Transformers was indeed incomparably strong. Unbridled. In these 10 days, using the power of the Transformers, Long Fei leveled up 1 more level, and he was already at the 6th level of the Origin Condensation Realm. 1 in 10 days. This was something that ordinary warriors would not even dare dream about. But to Long Fei, no, often, no, full, meaning. This was also because the aura on Transformers' body was too thick. Boom. Rumble. Transformers pushed himself up with his 4 limbs and leaped onto a tall mountain. He stopped and looked into the distance as the idea moved and said, Boss, Xian Yu mountain range is coming out from the front. Long Fei stood up and looked into the distance. In the distance was a sea of clouds. Nothing could be seen. In 10 days, they passed through Xian Yu mountain range. He had seen the map before. On the other side of the Xian Yu mountain range was the wilderness. His goal was to enter the wilderness. This was because the most dangerous place in Zhenwu continent was the wilderness. A level 9 demon beast was nothing in the wilderness, but Long Fei wanted to find those abnormal big demon beast to hunt down and level up. Experience. It was a leveling up breakthrough. What Long Fei needed the most right now was levels. True martial emperor is amazing, right? Wait. Give me enough demon beast and I will overturn the entire Zhenwu continent. Long Fei clenched his fists tightly, and thought of Yi Yorong's master. The anger in his heart flared up. He felt indignant in his heart. But he knows that this is the time when a powerhouse is king. If you want to change, then you have to force others. The old granny was a powerhouse of the Emperor Zhenwu's realm, and with Long Fei's current cultivation, even if he looked up to her, he would not be able to compare to her, so he had to level up. He wanted to step into the Emperor Zhenwu's realm. He wanted to use 10 times, 100 times the usual methods to get revenge. He wanted his woman to be at the mercy of no one, let alone marry a eunuch. Long Fei looked at the other side of the sea of clouds and said, "Enter the wilderness." Transformers let out a roar, and his 4 limbs stared straight ahead, boom, swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. Chapter 2390 Savage Gate. Chapter 2390 Savage Gate in the Wilderness. It was a barren land, and similarly, it was a land of wealth. There was a desert here, and the spiritual energy was so scarce that it couldn't be detected at all. There were also places where the spiritual energy of the immortal world was extremely dense. At the same time, this was also the most dangerous place on Zhenwu continent. Even the powerful magic tribe did not dare to rashly enter. There were extremely powerful demon beasts, various deserts, poisonous barriers, swamps, and various man-eating plants. This place was also known as the Deathland. Outside the Savage Mountain, a man and a beast stood there. Long Fei looked up into the distance, so big. Transformers also muttered, "It's really big." Right in front of them, the mountain range extended into the heavens. Standing far away, one wouldn't feel anything. However, when they arrived at the foot of the mountain, they discovered that the Savage Mountain range of the Savage Gate was simply so large that it caused one to shiver. This was the only way to enter the wilderness. Savage Mountain. He was also known as the Savage Gate. These mountains towered above the heavens and the earth. If one wanted to enter the center of the wilderness, they could only climb past Savage Gate. "Who?" Long Fei said, "Kong Kim, you can return to my beast space. I'll crawl over first." Transformers said, "Boss, I heard that Savage Gate is the most dangerous place on this continent. Just a slight mistake would cause one's body to shatter, but once I crawl over there, I will gain some insights." He wanted to crawl on his own. At the same time, he was also thinking for Long Fei, since they were still in the Savage Gate, if something were to happen, he would be able to shoulder the burden for his boss as soon as possible. Long Fei said, "All right. Then let's crawl together." He watched as Savage Gate took a step forward. Savage Gate was a steep cliff with no plants, other than rocks. There were also rocks, and more so. The properties of these rocks are different. There were extremely cold ice rocks. There were also incomparably hot flint stones. A mountain had 4 seasons. There were also unexpected dangers. And then again, the true essence here was being suppressed by some sort of force, making it impossible to completely release, which was, his cultivation base had been crushed, making it impossible for him to fly over it. He could only crawl. Long Fei walked on it step by step, each step extremely careful. The Transformers was on the other side, so his enormous body was in even more danger. Transformers was also extremely careful. 2 hours passed. Long Fei climbed 1,000 meters. Another 2 hours passed. Long Fei's whole body was drenched with sweat, the tips of his hair dripping with sweat. His hand was burned by the firestone. It was as if the Transformers had fished it out of the water. Another 2 hours passed. Long Fei's entire body froze over, his brows were covered in frost, and everything around him seemed to be frozen to the point where even his fingers were about to break. Pain. It was very painful. But Long Fei clenched his teeth and persisted. It was the same for Transformers. Speaking of which, it was strange, when he was climbing the Savage Gate, Long Fei's temperament slightly changed, and also, his memory seemed to have loosened. This feeling was very special. In his mind, various scenes that he had never seen before appeared from time to time. The characters in these scenes were all the same as the people in the previous dream. My memories. They must have been trapped by some kind of seal, otherwise why would there always be these people? That big bald head with the coffin on his back, that little kid who looked like he was cultivating the ghost vein method, that person who controlled the water, that overbearing sword lady, that venerable golden dragon who was like a fallen dragon and an Arhat, that uncle who held the big black knife in his hand and looked like an eagle, that person whose entire body was covered in the devil Buddha's tattoo. Why do these people feel so close and familiar to me, but why don't they exist in my memories? Also, Phoenix Emperor. The countless phoenixes are circling around us. The phoenix has returned to its nest. Phoenix rebirth. That girl. Why do I feel heartache when I see her tears, and the pain is so intense? Long Fei really couldn't understand. The more determined he was, the more determined he became. His memories became even clearer. However, this was a short scene. Long Fei did not know who they were, did not know their names, did not know their relationship with him, and even more so did not know where they were currently. Long Fei looked above his head, his gaze becoming even more determined as he muttered, "It doesn't matter if my memories were erased by the seal, I will definitely learn the breaking through the seal. No matter who you are, I will definitely find you." Long Fei believed that these people must be in this world, and must be related to him. Huff. Another few hours passed. Long Fei continued to climb and move forward. Transformers followed closely behind, but it was even more difficult for him. After all, his body was too huge, and there wasn't even a single point of support on the precipitous cliff wall. It was all thanks to the strength of his hands. A little carelessness could lead to a fall. "Kong Kim, do you want to take a break?" Transformers revealed a difficult expression, and said, "Boss, I can still persevere." Long Fei looked at the mountain peak above him that he could not see the peak of, and said, "Rest first. Come. Open your mouth and swallow these pills." From the moment Long Fei stepped onto this mountain, his health point had been declining non-stop, just like some special places in the game. With the spring of life, Long Fei quickly replenished it. However, Transformers would only be able to carry him with his life on his shoulders. Even if he had a lot of HP, it would still be used up some time. The Transformers did not hesitate and opened his mouth. Long Fei threw a pill into Kong Kim's mouth. But the instant the pill was thrown down, wow! A sharp shout suddenly came out from the mountain. Without waiting for Transformers' reaction, Shua, a black shadow, passed by. He immediately stopped the pill and quickly teleported to another place. It was extremely fast. It made people click their tongues. Long Fei couldn't even see it clearly. "What is it?" Transformers also shook his head. "I didn't see it clearly. Even Peak Demon Beast Level 9 could not see it clearly." "Then what is this guy?" Long Fei's consciousness moved, and felt something. Other than the presence of the Transformers, he could not feel any other presence at all. And then, Long Fei said, "I'll throw another one, look carefully." Transformers nodded heavily. His eyes turned sinister as he stared at the sky. At this time, Long Fei threw it again. The pill slipped. Long Fei's eyes darkened as he stared below. Shua. The black shadow flew out again. It was like a flash of black lightning that instantly intercepted the pill and quickly teleported to another place. It was too fast. However, this time, Long Fei was prepared and he was able to see a little more clearly. Black lightning figure. Huge wings. A sharp mouth. A Jurassic period animal suddenly appeared in Long Fei's mind. Damn, a wyvern? Chapter 2391, Bird People. Chapter 2391, Bird People Winged Dragon? Long Fei felt that this was somewhat unbelievable. Those are Jurassic animals. They couldn't have appeared in this world, could they? That's not right. In this alternate world, anything is possible. Ox can speak, so what else is impossible? Long Fei thought about what Qing Niu had said and immediately said to the Transformers, "We can't stay here any longer." Even though Transformers didn't know what had happened, when he saw Long Fei's serious expression, he immediately said, "All right." And then, Long Fei increased his speed. Because, if I'm not wrong, these wyverns are definitely not just one. They are social animals, and once they move out, the consequences will be unthinkable. Swiftly climbing. Perhaps the pill was too delicious. It could also be because they realized that Long Fei was trying to escape. Suddenly, Hualala, Hualala, Hualala. Winged Long Fei shot out one after another from the cliff wall. Its speed was much faster than the wyverns of the Jurassic period. Its entire body was black, just like rock. If one stuck to the rock wall, it would be impossible to see clearly. Waves of violent winds attacked. Long Fei looked at the black mass and his heart sank. Damn it. King Kong, hurry up. This sort of place. His cultivation was suppressed, his true essence was suppressed, and even his cultivation method wasn't easy to release. This was because once he released his cultivation method, he would fall down. Then again. Even God of the Dragon touching S could not be released. Once caught, the only thing left to do was wait for death. Transformers also felt the danger. Looking at the black mass, he could not help but feel anger in his heart. Long Fei said, "Don't be angry, and don't ever hit your chest, or you will fall down." Long Fei was really afraid that if Transformers got angry and pounded his chest, he would directly roll off. Transformers was startled. He really wanted to do that just now. He heaved a sigh of relief. Shua, shua, shua. One black shadow after another rushed at Long Fei. Holy sh**. If I knew this would happen, I wouldn't have thrown the pill away. Long Fei's heart tensed up. Under this kind of situation, he was unable to retaliate. No, I cannot die like this. This kind of death is too useless. Raising his eyes, he looked at a spot not too far away from him where he could see a person standing. Long Fei used all of his strength. Shua. A black figure fell, a sharp mouth filled with sharp teeth, and pecked at Long Fei's back. A piece of flesh was ripped off from his back. Blood gushed out. Long Fei gasped from the pain and cursed, "Fuck. Roar. Roar. Woo." Long Fei's body was small, he could only receive one attack at a time, but Transformers' body was too big, he was like a live target. A dense, black mass of wyverns covered his back as they crazily bit and pecked. In just a short moment, Transformers' back was covered in blood. The painful Transformers was clenching his teeth, letting out a painful and furious roar. If this continued, Transformers will be bitten to death. Hair. Long Fei roared. He then took out a handful of pills from the space ring and sprinkled them down. Pills, take them and eat. Shua, whoosh whoosh. When the wyverns saw the medicine pills, they immediately went berserk. They gave up on Transformers and headed straight for the pills. Just like a shark smelling blood, Long Fei also grabbed this opportunity to jump onto the rock that could be used to stand and pull out the sky sword. F***ck. Again. Long Fei roared. This time. Those wyverns knew that Long Fei had the pills on him, so they immediately gave up on attacking the Transformers and surrounded him. A black mass. Long Fei's scalp felt a little numb. He thought to himself, if I knew earlier, I would have refined some poison pills. Regret. Those wyverns didn't attack Long Fei and seemed to be waiting for him to take out the pill. There was a moment of silence. Seeing Long Fei not taking out the pill after so long, they started to get angry, and started to issue out sharp shouts. These shouts were accompanied by sound waves that could be seen with the naked eye, ring after ring. Long Fei's eardrums seemed as though they were about to burst, as he felt incomparable discomfort. And that was because the sound was out of sync. If he synced, Long Fei would probably bleed out of his 7 orifices from the shock. F***ck. Isn't the wilderness too dangerous? We haven't even entered the wilderness and we've already encountered such a monster, demon beast. Looking at the bloody grooves on top of the winged dragon, Long Fei clenched his fists tightly and said, I like it. Come. Long Fei pointed and said, you want some pills, right? I'll give it to you. With a flick of his right hand, he retrieved a medicinal pill and tossed it lightly onto the ground. Shua. Almost at the same time Long Fei took out the medicinal pellet, all the wyverns charged forward. At this moment, the corner of Long Fei's mouth curved up as his true essence surged, completely pouring into the sky sword. But the sky sword did not give off a strange light. Ever since Long Fei had leveled up by 4 levels in a row, the sky sword seemed to have lost its original strength. The rust on it became thicker, and it really looked like a broken sword. He had lost all his strength. Although Long Fei did not know why, he believed that the sky sword in his hands was still ranked 3rd on the primordial divine weapon ranking. Kill. Shua. With a slash of his sword, one of the wyvern's wings was cut off. The damage that appeared out of nowhere wasn't high, it was only a little more than 100 points, but its wings shattered, and the wyvern immediately fell down, smashing into the wall and the bloody groove above it. The system beeped. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining 100,000 experience, 10,000 true chi points, and 1 arrogant god energy value point. Holy sh**! A demon beast with experience in 100,000 points. The heck, I've struck it rich. However, at the same time, Long Fei received it with excitement. The looks in the eyes of the savage wyverns changed. They watched as their companions were killed. Anger burned in his eyes. She was extremely furious, and stared straight at Long Fei. That gaze seemed to want to swallow Long Fei whole. Long Fei's heart skipped a beat, and he thought to himself, damn it. Wow. A savage wyvern let out a cry, and following that, the savage wyverns pounced towards Long Fei. Transformers roared, roar. But it didn't work at all. A level 9 peak demon beast was not even worth mentioning here. Long Fei's eyes tensed up, the idea grabbed onto his arrogant god energy value and shouted, "Come here, am I afraid of you beasts?" The sky sword moved. Shua. A savage winged Long Fei stepped out and fiercely pecked at Long Fei's arm. Long Fei endured the pain and slashed down. Without waiting for him to retrieve his sword, the other savage wyverns pounced over. With a move of their sharp claws, they directly grabbed Long Fei and dragged him out of the stone. Suspended in midair. In that instant, Long Fei was surrounded by the black mass of savage wyverns. It was a crazy attack. Long Fei was also frantically retaliating, but the number of savage wyverns was simply too great. Transformers could not care so much. With a roar, his huge body pounced forward, just that. Before he could pounce, he was caught by a group of savage wyverns and was constantly attacked. If this continued, Long Fei would die. Long Fei kept thinking of a way in his heart. At this time, in the sky, under the sun, a figure descended. It was more accurate to say that the winged figure landed on the ground. Long Fei was startled. "Birdie person? Thank you for your support." Chapter 2392 Angels. Kyle. Chapter 2392 Angels. Kyle. Silver wings, huge. Golden armor covered his body, shining brilliantly. He held a long sword in his hand. This. Long Fei was a little stunned. Angel? Kyle? Too similar. Walking out of the sun, his wings flapped as he whistled through the air. This caused Long Fei to have an illusion, but he understood in his heart that this was a real world and not a game world. This sword-wielding birdman was definitely not an angel. This was the Savage Gate, the outskirts of the wilderness. Anything is possible here. All sorts of special species and all kinds of foreign species could be here. There are even Jurassic pterosaurs. What's so strange about having one more birdman? Long Fei didn't care about the avian because it was very likely that he had come for him as well. He quickly slashed the sky sword in his hand, but he couldn't even stabilize his body in the air. His true essence was being suppressed. The cultivation technique was suppressed. A cultivation at the 6th level of the origin condensation stage couldn't even fly, so the wyverns could only take a bite out of him as they grabbed a piece of his flesh and chunks of it fell off. If not for the protection of the spring of life, Long Fei would have died a long time ago. So irritable. Long Fei roared in his heart. This feeling of not being able to use any strength was truly annoying, and it made him extremely unhappy. Moreover, at this moment, Transformers had already fallen into a coma. His huge body was also completely suspended in the air, while the wyverns crazily pecked at his body. Large chunks of meat were torn off. Several parts of the skeleton were already visible. Long Fei was even more anxious. At this moment, wow! A savage wyvern let out a mournful cry. Immediately, all the wildland's winged dragons started to tremble. They opened their long mouths and screamed at the avians that were rushing down. This time, their cries were synchronized. This sound was extremely ear-piercing. Long Fei could not endure it anymore, his hands were covering his ears, but he could not stop it at all. His eardrums were trembling intensely, and blood was seeping out not only from his ears, eyes, nose, and throat. 7 meridians bloodshed. The spring of life in his body was crazily churning, it was crazier than ever before, and the health point above Long Fei's head was also crazily increasing. Even so, Long Fei's health point was still on a downward trend. Transformers was even more miserable. He was jolted awake by the sound and then fainted due to the pain. Then he woke up due to the pain and fainted again. Repeating it over and over again, this was a type of torture that was even worse than death. The savage wyverns were under great threat. The sound waves were like waves, causing the rocks on the mountain wall to crack. Long Fei and Transformers were simply unable to withstand this sound wave attack. But the birdman was not affected in the slightest. The long sword in his hand moved, pointing towards the sky. From below, it looked as if his sword had pierced the fiery sun. Then he waved the long sword. Shua! Boom! A powerful bolt of lightning came down from the sky and smashed into the group of wilderness-winged dragons. Immediately, a violent explosion sounded out, pa pa pa. This sound was like a slap to the giant. This caused Long Fei to be even more confused. Could it really be Angel Kyle? Why are all of his abilities so similar? Hualala. Pa pa pa. Hualala. Pa pa pa. One slap on the left, the other on the right. Each time, fiery lightning would rain down from all directions. Those savage wyverns could only scream in pain, but were unable to counterattack. Furthermore, they did not dare to charge forward. He was extremely afraid. The savage wyverns were fleeing in all directions. They were no longer in the mood to eat Long Fei now, fleeing for their lives was more important at this time. Thus, Long Fei's claws loosened and Long Fei immediately fell to the ground. Transformers was the same. Its enormous body immediately fell down. Long Fei's heart sank. Damn, if I don't get eaten now, I'll also die from the fall. At this moment, the avian swooped down and grabbed Long Fei. Long Fei raised his eyes, and instantly made eye contact with the avian. His body emitted a strong aura of a demon beast, the same. There was also the aura of a human. Alien races. Long Fei did not think too much, and did not care if he understood what she said, immediately saying, "Throw me onto the stone wall, and help my brother." The orc's eyes trembled slightly, and looked at Long Fei seriously. A strange light flashed in his eyes, and he did the same as he flung Long Fei up into the sky. True essence was released. Long Fei roared, his hands gripping onto the sky sword tightly. Ah! The long sword pierced the rock wall and rapidly slid down, causing sparks to fly everywhere. Long Fei used all his strength. Finally, boom! The sky sword pierced the rock wall. Long Fei also grabbed the sword hilt to stabilize his body, hanging in mid-air, his sword bent, gently swaying, although Long Fei did not know why the sky sword lost its original strength, but he was sure that the sky sword would not break. It was also at this time. Bird Person grabbed onto the free fall of Transformers. His enormous body easily rose up in the air. With a flap of his wings, he flew into the air. Long Fei finally let out a sigh of relief in his heart. Phew. The reason why Transformers followed him was so that he could become stronger and break through, but he couldn't. He had almost been turned into a meat patty just now. Having fought together meant that they were brothers. He had saved Transformers before, and Transformers had risked his life for him as well. It didn't matter if he was a demon beast, or something else. Long Fei treated him as a brother. The avian caught the Transformers and flew in front of Long Fei. The eyes inside the helmet looked at Long Fei and said, "I will fly you." The voice was pleasant to the ear. It was like a wind chime. It was only then that Long Fei noticed the armor on her. Female? Without waiting for Long Fei's agreement, he immediately grabbed Long Fei's shoulders and moved his wings. Shua and directly carried Long Fei flying. And Transformers' bodies weighed at least 100 tons, but she was very relaxed. Furthermore, the power that she had released just now, this Birdman was not simple at all. If she was a demon beast, that should be at least Earth stage. Because demon beastess that could speak human language were at least Earth stage, and they also had higher intelligence. This kind of intelligence demon beast was extremely terrifying. If it wasn't a demon beast, it was a mutated race, also known as a foreign race. Aliens were extremely rare in the Zhenwu continent. There were no such things in the human world. If they were alien, then Long Fei and Transformers would have a hard time escaping death. The non-human kind hated humans to the extreme. It was even more intense than the hatred the demon beast had towards humans. No matter what she is, Long Fei and Transformers are probably in danger. Long Fei asked, "Where are you bringing us?" Bird Person did not say anything as he continued flying. Her face could not be seen under the thick armor. Seeing that he did not answer her question, Long Fei did not ask any further. Half an hour later, at the end of Savage Gate, Long Fei looked down and could not help but exclaim, "It's really too high." Looking down at the thousands of kilometers around the wilderness, the world here was truly different from the outside. At this moment, the Birdman's speed changed. He suddenly accelerated and dived down. Chapter 2393, Beast Sight. Chapter 2393, Beast Sight. His speed suddenly changed. Violent winds whistled by like thunder. It was extremely painful to blow on his face. Transformers woke up from the pain once again. Seeing that he was still hanging in the air, his eyes twitched, about to become angry and roar. Long Fei moved and immediately warned, "King Kong, calm down." Swoosh swoosh swoosh. Swoosh swoosh swoosh. Just as the avians sped up their dive, the sound of the earth moving could be heard from below the hill, along with a series of explosions. Suddenly, a giant, winged ant flew out from the ground, opening its two large maw and pincers, aiming for the Birdman's wings. "What's that?" Long Fei was shocked. The avian changed its direction and dodged the attack. "Ant," it replied. "Ants." Long Fei was shocked. "An ant that is thicker than humans, what joke is this? An ant with wings?" After dodging the attack, the avian didn't slow down. Instead, it increased its speed to its limit and rushed out even faster. With a flap of its wings, the air around it became like a whirlpool. Long Fei could not see the avian's expression under the helmet, but he could feel that she was very serious. "These ants are tricky." Whoosh whoosh whoosh. Asterisk. The flying ant on the ground flew into the air one by one, their large mouth pincers glinting with a cold light. As soon as they were bitten, their body would immediately go numb, and all the muscles in their body would contract. Bird Person frantically tried to evade. It was like a fighter in the air. Long Fei's heart sank again. What kind of place is the wilderness exactly? However, this is the right place. Long Fei did not feel any fear in his heart, but he was more excited. The stronger the monster was and the higher its level, the more experience it would gain. What he needed the most right now was experience. The God's Sect gathering only had 3 months. In these 3 months, Long Fei will do everything he could to hunt for demon beastess and level up. Boom boom boom. Boom boom boom. A massive boom filled the air. Behind the avians, a large group of flying ant were chasing after them. In front of them, there was also a group of flying ant lying in ambush, as if they were there specifically to ambush the avians. Bird Person's eyebrows tightened. He looked at the ground and said, "Jump down." Long Fei was startled. "Eh?" Without waiting for him to react, the orc's hand relaxed. Long Fei and Transformers immediately started falling towards the ground. They were hundreds of meters in the air. An ordinary person's body would not be able to withstand it. Transformers was severely injured, so even if he did not die from the fall, he would still become crippled. The space between Long Fei's eyebrows tightened, and the sky sword in his hands started to dance non-stop. Phantom sword dance, phantom sword dance, phantom sword dance. He continued to superimpose sword energy. At the same time, Long Fei also increased his diving speed. He needed to first have Transformers land, so that he would have the chance to protect Transformers. He was frantically accumulating sword chi. In mid-air, avians did not wait for death to come. After putting down Long Fei and Transformers, her body became visibly lighter, and she stopped in place for half a second. Then, his body rolled over. Swish. Glaring at the spot, Zhongxian's speed rubbed the air, and a ball of white smoke appeared. In that instant, it was high up in the sky. The flying ant gathered together and watched as the avian flew into the air. It quickly condensed into a fried dough twist and, like the tongue of a monster, chased after it. Once felt that the battle between Transformers and Colorful Lizard was like a battle between gods. But, compared to the fierce battle in front of him, that fight was nothing but a child's play. It was not even worth mentioning. This was a real battle between deities. He couldn't understand it at all. After reaching a certain height, the avian turned around and suddenly dove down. It took out its golden long sword and ignited it. The fiery lightning struck down violently. Boom, 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 rumble, 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 rumble. The flying ant's limbs were all over the place and were instantly crushed by the avians. Long Fei glanced at the sky slightly, and thought in his heart, damn, isn't this birdman a bit too awesome? At least. Is it a heaven-ranked demon beast? 30 meters. 20 meters. 10 meters. Long Fei crazily calculated as he looked at the ground. When he was still 3 meters away from the ground, the sky sword in Long Fei's hands suddenly exploded, sword chi. Explode. The accumulated hundreds of sword chis were suddenly released. It landed directly on the ground. The strong force reflected off the ground countered Long Fei's falling speed. Boom. Long Fei landed safely. Hualala. Hualala. A towering tree was crushed by the Transformers. Long Fei's gaze tensed up, he did not care anymore at this time, and roared in his heart, arrogant god energy value. Explode for me. Ah! The arrogant god energy value accumulated over 10 days were released. In regards to brothers, Long Fei was not the least bit stingy. Let alone arrogant god energy value, even if it was holy artifact S, he would not hesitate in the slightest. With a step under Transformers, Long Fei's right leg fiercely stomped, and flew up, directly supporting Transformers' enormous body. Ah! Blue veins popped out. His face flushed. Rumble. He landed heavily on the ground. Transformers immediately flipped over and coughed out a mouthful of blood. Boss, are you alright? Cough, 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 cough. Long Fei coughed continuously, and waved his hand. It's fine, I won't die yet. At this moment, the bones in Long Fei's hands were all broken. If not for arrogant god energy value, he would have been crushed to death by the Transformers' descending speed. He hurriedly swallowed a few pills. The bone quickly healed and Long Fei slowly breathed out. Fortunately, I brought a lot of medicinal pellets with me this time. Military pellets are really good stuff. I have all kinds of high-leveled spirit grass. After 3 days and 3 nights of refining, Long Fei had refined a lot of high-grade spirit liquid from the military pills, and refined it into an earth-ranked pill. And then, Long Fei then walked in front of Transformers, poured a bunch of pills into his mouth and said, "Don't say anything, first stabilize your injuries." As the pill entered his body, warmth spread in all directions. The pain was quickly suppressed. The wounds on Transformers' body quickly stopped bleeding. Each pill refined using the method of using the heaven and earth as the furnace was of the highest quality. Seeing that the injuries on Transformers' body were being controlled and there was no danger to his life, Long Fei said, "Stay here and don't run around, I'll go take a look at that birdman." He might have. Long Fei had not finished speaking. Boom. A golden bolt of lightning descended and a golden wave of light bounced off the ground. It was a great show. The avian put away his sword, looked at Long Fei, and said, "You cannot stay here for long, quickly come with me." Long Fei asked anxiously, "Where to?" Bird person looked around and said, "Escape beast sight." Long Fei asked, "Beast sight? What is a beast sight?" Bird said, "It's the beast battling arena. Many people are watching. If they can't escape, they will die here." Beast battling arena? Someone's watching? Who? Long Fei's face was filled with astonishment. He did not discover the identity of the person, and furthermore, if this was a coliseum, then wouldn't this arena be too big? Terrifying. Chapter 2394, Powerhouse of Another Time and Space. Chapter 2394, Powerhouse of Another Time and Space. There's no time to explain, quickly come with me. Bird Person looked anxious. Long Fei only knew that this was the wilderness and he had never heard of the beast sight. More importantly, Bird Person had just said that he would escape from this place, but he had obviously crossed over the Savage Gate and was already on the other side of the mountain. That also meant that he had already escaped. You know, he could definitely bring Long Fei and the others flying and not enter the wilderness. The wilderness was too dangerous. Long Fei had to remain vigilant, and said, I think it's best for you to explain, otherwise we won't leave. Furthermore, Transformers still needed time to recover from his injuries. Another series of loud and clear sounds came from the forest. Many towering trees were pushed into the distance. Long Fei's gaze tensed up. Bird Person became nervous and said, it's too late. And then, her body rolled, Shua. With a flap of his wings, he soared into the sky and disappeared in the blink of an eye. Transformers felt a strong sense of danger approaching and immediately stood up and said, Boss, what should we do? Long Fei rubbed the bridge of his nose and said, the reason we entered the wilderness was to gain experience. Let alone what kind of beast sight is here, I would even F*King step into a sea of demon beasts. Prepare to fight. Transformers shouted loudly, understood. Boom. With the movement of the armor on his body, the Transformers appeared to be in battle mode. Actually, he had been holding back his anger in his heart and was unable to fully unleash his power in the air. Now, on land, he wanted to vent as much as he could. Long Fei said, remember, do not chase after me, just stay by my side and fight. Transformers nodded, understood. Even if Long Fei didn't say it, he wouldn't have pursued him further because he wanted to protect Long Fei. Boom. With a roar, a towering tree that had been uprooted fell from the sky, forming a long strength stripes. Transformers' eyes darkened. He immediately leaped forward and hugged the huge tree with both hands and roared, roar. Boom. He landed heavily on the ground, his body retreating explosively as a deep gouge appeared in the ground. Transformers resisted the attack and with a move of his hands, he carried the huge tree on his shoulder and swept it away. Roar. Another roar. I was just worrying about not having a weapon, but today, I'll use this big stick to smash all of you to death. The towering tree descended. A ghostly green light flashed from all directions. The atmosphere in the forest was especially strong. It was eerie and terrifying. At this moment, an ear-piercing shriek sounded. Immediately, the monsters from all directions rushed out in an instant. It was still the flying ant from before, but the wings on its back had been retracted. With quick steps like the wind, he rushed towards Long Fei. It was densely packed. Every single one of them was even bigger than Long Fei. This scene caused everyone's scalps to go numb. Long Fei's gaze tensed up as he looked at the flying ant rushing towards him from all directions. He let out a heavy breath in his heart and said to the Transformers, steady, steady, please calm down. Transformers clenched his fists and tightly held onto the huge tree. In that instant, a flying ant suddenly pounced over. Long Fei roared, God of the Dragon touching, come out. Boom. Under the catalysis of the force of variation, the Fate Centipede evolved into a God of the Dragon touching. Following Long Fei's call, the ground moved and in a flash, it broke through the earth as its enormous body was lifted into the air. Without waiting for the flying ant to pounce towards Long Fei, it spat out a huge mouthful of venom. Hualala. The flying ant's entire body was paralyzed, turning into a gray color. It too fell from the sky. It was also at this time. Transformers' eyes stared wide open, the big stick in his hand smashed down towards the flying antess on the ground. Paji. His entire body shattered. The system beeped. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing flying ant for obtaining 150,000 experience, 10,000 true chi points, 1 energy values point. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining soaring wings. Evolutionary condition, force of variation. Long Fei didn't think much of it and directly replied, no. Flying antess could be shockingly high level outside, but it wasn't much in the wilderness. It might be a bit of a waste to use the force of variation on a flying wings. Moreover, Long Fei was not in a rush. The most important thing now was to clean up all these flying, and upgrade was the key. Hualala. 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 The god of the dragon touching venom violently sprayed, as if it was a group of holy artifact fighting against each other. Moreover, it was a defensive weapon. His only weakness was that he could only summon it once a day, and could not move it at all. If he could move it, then Long Fei would have the Poison King with him at any time. The blood on the head of the flying ant that was charging towards him was falling rapidly. 4,223 inch, 3,492, 5221. The attacks of these flying ant were ferocious, but their defense was extremely weak. When they tried to get close to the god of the dragon touching, the venom released by it would immediately change into a numbing effect. The transformers began to rage. Mad slaps. Long Fei didn't need to do anything, and directly listened to the beautiful system beep. This kind of tempo. How wonderful. 150,000 experience points each. 10 is 1,500,000. 100 of them are almost leveled up. Ha ha ha. Ha 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 ha. It was right to come to the wilderness. Long Fei thought happily. At this moment, right above Long Fei's head, Avian did not leave, staring straight at the god of the dragon touching from within the armor. He revealed a look of shock and said, "Force of variation. It's an alien as well. What is the background of this human?" In another place, at the peaks of Savage Gate, humans have entered the wilderness. Who is this kid? How could the beasts he summoned also possess force of variation? Who cares? He has already entered the beast site, so our bet will not change. He is just a small stepping stone, and won't last much longer. Not necessarily. This human seems to have some kind of mysterious power. What mysterious power is this? This place is merely the lowest plane of universal realm, so no humans in this wilderness will be able to survive. Human? Like a pig? That's right. You have to understand that the demon beast in the wilderness were all taken from another time and space. Humans who enter here are digging their own graves. These people, none of them were ordinary people. Moreover, they did not belong to the Zhenwu continent at all. They come from other planes, higher planes. Immortal Master Liu Yuan, what did you see? Everyone looked towards the same direction. The Immortal Master Liu Yuan shook his head. No, it's just an intuition. He feels that the mysterious power in his body is very strong. Intuition? You're already like a human, and you still have intuition? Ha ha ha. Many people laughed. Actually, the Immortal Master Liu Yuan did not say it out loud, because he sensed that Long Fei had a special kind of inheritance power. Do you want to report this to the Mortal King? Thank you for your support. Chapter 2395 Redeem Double Experience Scrolls. Chapter 2395 Redeem Double Experience Scrolls. Universal Large World was vast and boundless, with many planes. Naturally, there were also countless experts. There would always be some experts who would find it hard to eat their fill and would go around looking for fun. Right now, this beast site was created by a few powerhouses. They turned this place into a place where strange beasts fought for hegemony, fought and killed, betting, gambling, and seeking entertainment. This was not the first time Immortal Master Liu Yuan had been here. He had never felt anything before, but this time, when Long Fei appeared, his strength wavered slightly. His perception was extremely strong. He was the person with the strongest perception under the throne. When he saw Long Fei, he immediately sensed a special kind of power from Long Fei's body. This power was also the inherited power on Long Fei's left arm. It was also the super force of Ming clan. Logically speaking, it was impossible for the power of the ancient inheritance to appear in such a low plane. Because any inherited powers were birthed from the ancient world, and it was obtained by the people in the ancient world. The inheritance of the ancient world was now under the control of the gods' tribe. 100,000 inheritance, the gods' tribe only had control over 98,000 inheritances. This was also the reason why the gods' tribe was able to firmly control the universal large world. No one could match them. In regards to the sudden appearance of the ancient inheritance, Liu Yuan was secretly shocked. He only sensed it slightly. Does Long Fei have the power of the ancient inheritance? He also didn't dare guarantee it, and he himself didn't really believe that such a lowly person with ancient inheritance would appear. Liu Yuan pondered for a long time before letting out a sigh. Let me take a look first. Boom. 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 God of the Dragon touching S sprayed out violently, scattering the venom all over the place. Stood at the same place and had not made a move the entire time. He basically did not need to do anything. The system kept beeping. Ding. 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 Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing flying and for obtaining 150,000 experience, 10,000 true chi points, 1 arrogant god energy value point. His experience rapidly increased. Half an hour later, ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for leveling up. Current level, 7th level of the Essence Condensation Realm. Long Fei was overjoyed. I leveled up, ha ha ha. Breaking through the 7th level of the Origin Condensation Realm in half an hour, this speed. Who else? However, it would be even better if it could be faster. Long Fei had always been a person that he could not be satisfied with. This kind of leveling up speed could be said to be unprecedented, but he was still not satisfied. He still wished to be able to level up even faster so that he could instantly upgrade Emperor Zhenwu's realm. He wished he could stand in front of Yi Yorong's master with the Emperor Zhenwu's realm. No talent. No blood vein. This father will still trample you. Right. Many games have special props, such as double experience scroll, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times. There's even an attack scroll. Let me take a look. And then Long Fei immediately opened the system merchant shop and looked through the big special scrolls. Long Fei's eyes sank. F***ck your grandpa. A double experience book costs 1,000,000 trading points, and it only lasted 3 minutes. 4 times the original cost 8 million. Double attack scroll, 10 million. 4 times critical hit scroll, 25 million. Looking at these long numbers, Long Fei was secretly speechless. System, why don't you just snatch it? Even tycoons can't afford to play with it. 1,000,000 exchange value. Long Fei's current exchange value didn't even have 5 digits. For such a long time, he had basically given all the items that Long Fei had dropped to the people around him, but he did not leave anything behind. Suddenly, Long Fei thought in his heart, that's right, didn't I burst out with the soaring wings just now? Amongst the flying ant that he had killed, there were quite a few that had dropped their flying wings. Long Fei had never used force of variation fusion. Recycling. Long Fei didn't want to talk about force of variation being used on this kind of thing. After all, the flying ant wasn't particularly strong. Ding. System notification. Soaring wings can be exchanged for 10,000 exchange value. Do you want to trade? Only 10,000 points. Long Fei was speechless, and said, System, you are an evil merchant. Exchange. Although Long Fei's heart hurt, but he still exchanged. Ding. Exchange value plus 10,000 points. Ding. Exchange value plus 10,000 points. Half a minute later. Ding. System notification. Player's exchange value 910323 point. F***ck. I still need 90,000 exchange value to exchange for a double experience scroll. Long Fei looked at the system merchant shop and drooled. Following that, Long Fei flipped through the space ring S again. Moreover, he flipped through the 73 space ring in the system space. However, he couldn't even take out a piece of dog shit. What level will I have to reach to get the item inside? Long Fei was a little depressed. He could obviously be as rich as a nation, he could obviously be very rich, but he could only watch and not use it. This was the most difficult thing in the world. The 73 Space Ring S contained all sorts of powerful items. Any one of them could be said to be in existence that could crush everything in the Zhenwu continent, but he just couldn't take it out. What could you do? Long Fei kept the system space and could only play around with the Space Ring S. The Space Ring S were mostly empty. However, even after adding all these rubbish together, he still couldn't get 10,000 points. Finally, Long Fei took the zombie inner core that exploded out from the black zombie and said lightly, "I'll take this inner core. I already have an unlimited true chi anyway, so I'll just directly exchange this inner core." Recycling. Long Fei moved. The internal core of the zombie was taken away. The system sounded out. Ding. System notification. Exchange value plus 3,200,000 points. Long Fei's eyes trembled, his pupils widened, as he stared straight at the system's prompt. What the F asterisk CK, 302 100,000 points S. Then this thing. Long Fei felt his heart ache again, because the higher the exchange value, the higher the value of the thing was. It must be something of the holy artifact level, otherwise it would not have such a high level of exchange value. However, although his heart ached, Long Fei did not regret it. What he wanted now was not the holy artifact, what he wanted now was experience, what he needed was levels. Even if the internal pill of a zombie was extremely powerful, he would not hesitate to exchange it for it. Because he wanted to charge into the Emperor Zhen Wu's realm. One time. He wanted to step over everything, and then Long Fei moved, exchange for double experience scrolls. Ding. Exchange value, 1,000,000 points. Ding. System notification, you have obtained a double experience scroll. Activate. Who? Long Fei breathed out deeply, looking at the surrounding dense flying ant. He clenched his fists tightly, looked at Transformers, and said, "Kong Kim, follow me and enter." As soon as he finished, Long Fei shouted in his heart, "Activate." Ding. Double experience scroll activated. Duration of 180 seconds. Long Fei also jumped into the beast herd in an instant. Is he crazy? Chapter 2396, Vajra Transformation, Double-Headed. Chapter 2396, Vajra Transformation, Double-Headed. The god of the dragon touching was too slow. With double EXP of only 180 seconds, Long Fei did not want to miss a single second. If he relied on the god of the dragon touching speed, he would probably only be able to kill 10 of them within the next 3 minutes. That would be too much of a waste. The only choice. It was also the only way to charge into the herd. It was good to do more damage. The moment Long Fei rushed into the herd of beasts, Transformers suddenly leaped up, and took the lead to jump in front of Long Fei. He swept the remaining half of the towering tree, and made a path for Long Fei. Next, a man and a beast, a sword, and a big stick charged into the herd. Is he crazy? On the peaks of Savage Gate, those powerhouse were slightly shocked, as they could not understand Long Fei's actions. Obviously, with the god of the dragon touching and Transformers helping him, the flying ant would never be able to hurt him, but now he had to rush into a horde of ants. Is my brain spasming? Urgent death. I was planning to mobilize some other strange beasts, but it seems like there's no need. Humans are extremely cowardly. I didn't think that even their brains wouldn't work. Humans in the lower planes are far less intelligent. Didn't someone just bet on him? Who was that person? I'll take as much as you pay, ha ha ha. Immortal Master Liu Yuan also looked at Long Fei. He did not understand either. In this situation, logically speaking, he should have just continued wasting time, but he just had to rush into the colony of ants. It had to be known that the attacks of these flying ants were extremely fierce, and once bitten, they would basically become useless. Seems like I must have made a mistake. The immortal Master Liu Yuan was also slightly amused by the mysterious power he had sensed earlier. How can such a plane have an ancient era's inheritance? In another place, Bird Person, who hadn't left for some time, was secretly surprised. Is he crazy? He asked. You want to die by rushing in there? He did not understand either. The strength of humans in this world was too weak, let alone in the wilderness. But he still wanted to rush into the colony. It was no different from courting death. However, there was a hint of pity in Bird Person's eyes. The reason why she saved Long Fei was because Long Fei had brought a demon beast, Transformers, to his brother. That was why she was moved to save him. But now, he was no longer saved. Bird Person's expression was somewhat disdainful as he coldly said, "Humans always like to do things that they overestimate themselves in order to never be able to change this bad habit." His eyes turned cold. Bird Person flapped his wings and watched quietly. There was no intention to save Long Fei at all. Boom. Transformers swung his pole down, causing Long Fei's sword to move. Fairy from heaven. Shua. A sword shot out, directly piercing through the flying ant's head and striking a red dot on its lower jaw. Suddenly, the flying ant died instantly. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining 300,000 experience for killing flying ant, 10,000 true chi points, 1 arrogant god energy value. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining soaring wings. Do you wish to fuse them? As expected. Double experience is great. Long Fei shouted excitedly. Just as he was about to use the fairy from heaven, the surrounding ants all flew over. Transformers slightly moved his body, directly using his enormous body to block the majority of Long Fei's attacks, but his back was torn apart. Flesh and blood flew everywhere. Blood splattered everywhere. The intense poison spread throughout his body. However, Transformers did not scream at all. He turned around and used one hand to grab the huge tree, and swept it out. Hualala. He had once again repelled the colony of ants. It was also at this moment. Transformers looked at Long Fei, and Long Fei nodded heavily. Transformers took out the thing Long Fei gave him and consumed it. Boom. A power boom sounded out, the Transformers' body released a loud explosive sound, the power rampaged out. Crack, crack, crack. Every bone in his body exploded, and his muscles swelled. As fast as they were, they became as hard as steel. The armor on his body also changed, as if it had a life of its own. In front of his chest. Boom. When the armor closed, it immediately covered the entire chest. His knees, elbows, and thick back were all covered by the chainmail-like armor. The power in his entire body suddenly changed. Not only that, right at Transformers' neck, a series of bone explosions sounded out. In that instant, one head, a head that was exactly the same as the Transformers, it grew out from his neck. It was even more vicious. Furthermore, an increase in strength by tons. His eyes were ferocious and bloodshot. The newborn head was abnormally terrifying and hideous. But he was incomparably excited. Transformers was incomparably excited. Long Fei was also shocked. He did not expect it to become like this. Double-headed, King Kong. King Kong, how do you feel? Long Fei was worried that Kong Kim's body might not be able to take it, or maybe he was not used to having two heads. It was just that. Long Fei's worry was completely unnecessary. Transformers said, "Boss, just one word, great." This time, he did not use the idea to communicate with Long Fei, but simply said it out loud. This meant that he had just broken through. His current cultivation was already an Earth-stage demon beast. Roar! The two-headed king let out an excited roar, and with a hug, it threw out a punch. Peng, peng, peng. A series of explosions sounded in the air. A flying ant was sent flying a kilometer away, stunned. Long Fei was also extremely excited. The force of variation is fierce. The thing that was given to the Transformers just now was the force of variation. While Long Fei was still stunned. The avian in the sky was also incomparably shocked. Looking at the change in Transformers' body, she could immediately tell that it was the force of variation. Shouldn't the force of variation be a special power produced by the changes in the world? Shouldn't fusing with this kind of special power cause it to transform? Could it be? This strange power can even be controlled by someone? If that's the case, then does he have the force of variation's antidote on him? Bird Person's eyes tensed up, staring straight at Long Fei. She didn't want to be like this. It could be said. She hated herself for being like this. She hated herself for having wings, hated herself for being different from her people. At one point, she even cut off her wings, but the wings would regrow the next day, and she couldn't control them at all. It was also because of the wings on her back that she was brought here for others to play with. She hated him. Humans were not humans, but beasts were not beasts. She hated herself. Seeing the transformation in Transformers' body, she immediately knew that the fusion of her previous powers could be controlled by someone, so it meant that she could be removed. Just as the avians were thinking about this, Transformers was already frantically killing, and Long Fei laughed sinisterly, and at the same time that Kong Kim unleashed his berserk attack, he roared, "Wild God energy, explode." Chapter 2397, The Good Show Has Just Begun. Chapter 2397, The Good Show Has Just Begun. Release of Arrogant God Energy Value. Long Fei was like an engine with a special ability infused into it, as he became ferocious. A man and a beast. They began a wild slaughter. Boom, boom, boom. As if it was crushing dry weeds, it madly ravaged those flying ant. Ding, ding, ding. The system beep went berserk. In this instant, Long Fei and Kong Kim were like gods of death. Those flying ant continued to gather and were smashed apart by Long Fei in that instant. Corpses were everywhere. In just 3 short minutes, Long Fei leveled up another level. He had already reached the 8th level of the Origin Condensation Realm. He made a fierce comparison. It was also due to their crazy killing spree and brutal strength that the flying ant quickly retreated, something that had never happened before. The strength of the colony of ants was extremely savage. Even if they met creatures stronger than them, they would not fear them in the slightest. In his previous life, man-eating ants could be said to be an invincible existence. Lions and elephants would fear them, and the flying ant just now was hundreds of millions of times more savage than man-eating ants. Huff! Long Fei sat on the ground, his entire body seemed to be paralyzed, as he panted heavily. This is great. He was sweating profusely. His entire body was tired. Every inch of his skin was tired. Under the high-speed circulation, his body was simply unable to withstand it. But it felt really good to be able to persevere on and on. The only thing that felt even better was that Long Fei had leveled up in 3 minutes. Transformers said excitedly, "It's not fun." Long Fei glanced at Transformers and said, "Abnormal." The current Transformers was truly abnormal. Although he had just broken through the Earth Stage Demon Beast, the power he was unleashing had already reached the Earth Stage peak rank. Moreover, in the previous battle, he did not use King Kong Powerful Fist. This was his strongest move, but he did not know how strong his move would be after mutation. And then again, if he were to use the parasitic possession technique, how powerful would his strength be? Long Fei was very much looking forward to it. After resting for a few minutes, Long Fei swallowed a medicinal pellet, and his strength recovered a little. He stood up, looked at his surroundings, and muttered, "What kind of place is the wilderness?" Everything was different here. It was like a lost world, very different from the demon beast and living beings in the outside world, even flowers, plants, and trees. Especially the demon beast. These demon beast were not like the demon beast in this world. When Long Fei was at Shenyu sect, he had read through the records of beasts. Boom. At this moment, he looked at Long Fei and said, "I told you before, this is the beast site." The avian descended. Transformers immediately stood up. Bird Person looked at Transformers seriously, convinced that the reason for Transformers' transformation just now was due to his special powers. Long Fei slightly said, "Didn't you leave?" Bird Person looked at Long Fei and asked, "Did he fuse with the force of variation just now?" Huh! Long Fei was shocked. How does he know about the force of variation? This power was from the mutated demon beast he summoned out by Mingyu. The quantity did not drop, as even the system had this kind of power. However, it required 100,000 exchange value to exchange for a bit. Bird Person was startled when he saw Long Fei's expression. He immediately took a step forward and asked, "Do you have the antidote?" The moment she took a step forward, the Transformers suddenly moved and immediately went on guard. Even though the avians had saved him before, the Transformers did not relax. Because Long Fei was his boss. No matter who it was, as long as it was Long Fei. Long Fei said, "There is no antidote for the force of variation." Bird Person was startled. His body trembled slightly as he said, "Impossible. How could this be? If there is such a thing as a power, then there must be another power that can dissolve it. There must be an antidote, there can't be no antidote, and everything in the world is connected to each other. If there is power of change, then there must be power that can dissolve it." Bird Person became excited. She was looking for it. She's been looking for. She didn't want to be a bird all her life. She had never given up. After so many years had passed, the hope in her heart slowly became disappointment, almost despair. But when she saw the god of the dragon touching, she immediately knew that it was a mutated product. "Perhaps what you said is correct, but I really do not have the antidote to dissolve the force of variation." Long Fei was a little excited when he saw the avian coming out. At the same time, Long Fei was suspicious. The force of variation can make people stronger, is that not good? Although Long Fei had never used the force of variation before, no matter if it was the god of the dragon touching or the Transformers, they were both extremely excited. This was because of his strength. The only faith in this world is strength. The powerhouse was the master of everything, and power was the master of everything. Becoming strong was everyone's dream. She looked at Long Fei with some unwillingness. "Why do you have a force of variation? And it can be controlled?" She had fused with the force of variation without knowing it. They weren't under his control at all. Long Fei shrugged his shoulders, and said, "Maybe I am handsome, with good character." Could he say that he killed the monster himself? The avian looked at Long Fei and asked again, "Do you really not have the antidote to dissolve the force of variation?" Long Fei said, "Really, I don't have any." Is it not good to become stronger? Bird Person was very powerful. Even if she wasn't the angel Kyle, she didn't have an invincible ability. She was just as tough. At least. Long Fei was shocked. It could be said that many people would be envious of the fact that it was possible to fly. Bird Person smiled bitterly and said, "Become strong. If I had turned myself into a human or a beast, I would rather die than have such a great power." Everyone's world was different. Long Fei did not ask any further. Right now, he has no time to care about the force of variation's antidote. He wanted to become strong. Become the kind of person who can do whatever he wants. God of Death, the kind of person who stepped on the sky with his heaven defensive sword. King Kong. Let's go. Long Fei called out. Transformers kept his battle mode, and Long Fei also jumped onto his shoulder. Transformers glanced at the avian, then walked into the forest. Bird Person froze on the spot. "This human is very interesting. Do you want to make something more interesting?" "Of course. He was just slapping us in the face. If we don't get back at him, how can we do that? It was the flying ant just now. This time. Hee hee. How about I get a bunch of black dark magician beasts from the dark world? Let's start betting. That human won't live more than a day under the bet of 3 Earth spiritual weapons. Hee hee. Kid, the show has only just begun. Thank you for your support." Chapter 2398 Ancient Alchemy Technique. Chapter 2398 Ancient Alchemy Technique. Long Fei did not care where he was. It was good to be in the wilderness. As long as he had more experience and monsters, the beast site that the avians spoke of would definitely be a paradise for Long Fei. As long as there were monsters to kill, as long as they could level up, nothing would be a problem. Continuously flipping over and over. Originally, Long Fei wanted to chase after the flying ants, but he discovered that he would be lost if he did so. The group of flying ants seemed to have disappeared into thin air. If Long Fei was at the 8th stage of the origin condensation realm, his sensing range would exceed 1,000 meters, but not a single mosquito could be found within 1,000 meter. It was too strange. What's going on? Long Fei indicated for the Transformers to stop, looked around, and muttered, "In this kind of situation, either there isn't a single demon beast around, or we have already entered the territory of some demon beast at the level of an overlord. The first case is almost impossible. There were no demon beast within 1,000 meters of the wilderness." Transformers said slightly, "Boss, there's probably a big guy." Transformers also could not feel his aura. Since Long Fei could not feel it, and even he could not feel it, it meant that he was a big guy. Long Fei clenched his fists tightly and said excitedly, "I like big guys. Boss, come out." Long Fei roared. There was no sound in the forest, only silence. Not even a bird was startled. Long Fei was a little embarrassed, and said, "My voice isn't loud enough." King Kong. Transformers suddenly stood up and roared like a lion. "Boss, my boss told you to scram." Rumble. The voice was like thunder as it exploded, rolling tens of kilometers away like thunder. There was a moment of silence. It was still the same. There was no reaction at all. The forest was so quiet that it made people panic. There was nothing there. That's strange. Could it be that you don't even have a single demon beast? Long Fei shook his head. That's impossible. This is the wilderness. Even if you don't have demon beastess, you would at least have some wild beasts, right? Why is there nothing? It was very abnormal. However, at this moment, the birdman flapped his wings and landed heavily on the ground. He then said lightly, "Those people have retracted their strange beasts." Retreat. Those people? Long Fei did not understand, and asked, "Who are they?" The Transformers was puzzled as well. Could it be that the demon beast in the wilderness is controlled by someone? This is the wilderness, but in the Deathland, who could control the demon beast here? Impossible. The bird said, "The wilderness is very big. I don't know about other places, but here, all the beasts, including a small mosquito, have been controlled. I said before that this place was the beast site. Control strange beasts. And such a powerful beast at that. It wasn't just one or two, but a large group. Then, how strong was this group of people?" Long Fei's brows tightened, and said, "Who exactly are those people?" Bird Person looked at the peak of the Savage Gate which was floating above the clouds. He shook his head and said, "I don't know. F***CK. Long Fei disdained. The avian continued, "But I know that they are not people of this plane. This is just their playground. We are just their playground's objects to amuse them." Her eyes were somewhat lonely. The first few times, she was the one chasing him. But this time, she was the prey. All the beasts from another world had come to chase after her. Fei Tian was satisfied. The savage wyverns were just the lowest level of strange beasts. Once they lose their patience, then it was the appearance of a super-mutated beast. If she was lucky enough to survive, she wouldn't be able to escape their grasp either. And the next time, they would bring more powerful beasts with them. However, this time, the only difference was that Long Fei's sudden intrusion had disrupted their plans. The sudden disappearance of the strange beast meant one thing. This time, the game was more exciting. Long Fei had become the target of killing. However, Long Fei did not know. Long Fei glanced at the avians and said, "I don't care who they are. As long as demon beastess are killed and I can break through, then nothing will be a problem." As he spoke, he jumped down from Transformers and asked, "Will beasts appear again?" This was what he was concerned about. Bird people swapped their shares and said confidently, "Yes, but the next time he appears, all of you should die." Long Fei looked at the avian with contempt, and said unhappily, "Only we will die, you won't die?" The avian fell silent. Long Fei couldn't be bothered to care about her either. Completely armed, not to mention her appearance, her body didn't even have the slightest bit of skin. Under normal circumstances like this, he must be extremely ugly, not daring to meet anyone. Long Fei had never been interested in ugly things. And then, Long Fei said, "King Kong, sit down and cultivate. I'm going to collect the spirit grass." If it was as Bird Person had said, the appearance of stronger beasts meant that they had to make preparations beforehand. At the very least, they had to prepare a sufficient amount of pills. Moreover, along the way, Long Fei discovered that the level of spirit grass here was considerably high. Many of them were of the 7th stage, the 8th stage, and there were even immortal stage spirit grass. Other than that, there were also a few spirit grass. Transformers sat cross-legged, as if he was a human. An Earth stage demon beast needed a large amount of Heaven and Earth Primeval essence to be introduced into its body, and its body would be tempered with Primeval essence. The true essence here was extremely rich. To him, this was a paradise. Bird person leaned to the side and didn't move. He didn't say anything as he silently gazed at the distant mountain peak. She wanted to remove the mutated poison from her body and restore her original appearance. At the same time, she also wanted to break free and leave the beast site. At least, after she left, she would have the chance to return to her original world. She missed her family too much. Even though her family treated her like a demon, she couldn't stop thinking about them. And the one he loved. An hour passed. Long Fei brought back a bunch of spirit grass. Since there are no strange beasts, then the only way to improve myself is to train in a skill. The stronger the skill, the stronger it will be. Long Fei looked at the spirit grass in front of him and said, "First, refine a batch of medicinal pellets. If you can increase your alchemy technique by another step, step into the earth realm. Begin." Long Fei moved and activated his alchemy mode. Every single time, he would learn alchemy from the dragon coffin. The surrounding powerhouse on the summit of the Savage Gate didn't pay any attention to Long Fei. What kind of pellet could a lower plane alchemy master refine? They wouldn't even spare a second glance at the divine-grade spirit pellets in Zhenwu continent. Their level was simply too low. However, there was one person who was paying attention to Long Fei. When he saw Long Fei's alchemy technique, the space between his eyebrows suddenly tightened. This is the ancient world's alchemy technique? Impossible. Chapter 2399, Strong Boundary. Chapter 2399, Strong Boundary. I don't believe it. Not at all. He could feel the aura of the ancient inheritance from Long Fei's body, but when he charged into the group of flying ant, he thought that Long Fei would die. This kind of person simply didn't have the qualifications to receive the ancient world's inheritance. But Long Fei survived, and used a strong power to firmly crush the flying ant. Was this the reason behind the ancient world's inherited power in his body? Immortal Master Liu Yuan didn't know either. In his heart, he was still a little suspicious of the power of the ancient inheritance on Long Fei's body. It was even better. He was too far away from the ancient world in this cheap plane, so there had never been a situation where the power of the ancient inheritance appeared in this low plane. Is the mysterious power on Long Fei's body ancient inheritance? Immortal Master Liu Yuan didn't dare be sure. However, now, when he saw Long Fei's alchemy technique, his mind suddenly exploded. There was no pill furnace. No flames. Everything depended on the power of the world. This sort of method, even the most difficult, and also the most advanced, ancient alchemy technique in the ancient era. He had also seen Lord Human King and the Gods Tribe's alchemy master, powder-making competition, once. Human King's alchemy technique was an extremely high-level existence, but the Gods Tribe defeated him in 10 seconds. This was precisely the reason why Powerhouse of Gods Tribe used the ancient alchemy technique. That battle. He saw it with his own eyes. The Human King had suffered a crushing defeat, and also, there was no chance of resistance at all. That's why it was so memorable. He never thought that he would see the second ancient alchemy technique. Immortal Master Liu Yuan was excited. An uncontrollable excitement. Seeing that Long Fei was able to produce a pill in such a short span of time, a light flashed in his eyes, and he secretly clenched his fists. And then, whoosh, a cool breeze blew past, and Immortal Master Liu Yuan disappeared on the spot. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for successfully refining it, proficiency +3. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for successfully refining it, proficiency +3. Ding. The system continuously rang out, and Long Fei also quickly refined the pill and entered into a state where he was completely immersed. If one were to raise the alchemy technique of the 9th level to the Earth stage, they would need a proficiency with 100,000 points. It was too difficult. Unless 1 or 2 Earth stage alchemy masters had consumed their experience, it would take too much time to level up. Furthermore, Long Fei could not maintain the ancient alchemy technique because his mental energy could not handle it. After a long time, Long Fei exhaled a heavy breath, his forehead was filled with beads of perspiration, he was completely drenched, his mind had finally relaxed, and Long Fei's body had also relaxed slightly. Exquisite healing pill, exquisite detoxification pill, exquisite true origin pill. They are all of the highest quality. This alchemy technique is too heaven-defying. Long Fei revealed a satisfied smile, he looked at Kong Kim who was still cultivating, and kept the pill. The birdman fell asleep against one side. Long Fei sensed around, but he still did not sense any demon beast's aura. This place can't really be the beast site, right? He never quite believed what the birdman said. What kind of powerhouse from another world would go to a lower plane to fool around? Forget it. I better think about the beast mastery. Long Fei thought about how he had subdued the flying one-eyed tiger in a single thought at Secret World. Even he himself felt that it was too sudden. After returning to the Xianyu sect, he deliberately trained with the beast mastery. Strangely enough, there was nothing wrong with it. Normally, one would need talent to cultivate this kind of auxiliary method, otherwise they would reject it. However, Long Fei did not feel any rejection at all. It was as if they were completely compatible. However, although Long Fei released the beast mastery, he was unable to unleash the effect of the secret world. When he was in Xianyu mountain range, he had also tried, but all of them had failed. There was not a single success, and Long Fei still did not understand how to control the beast mastery. Long Fei was released. Fail. Proficiency +0 without a target to release, the number of proficiency S would naturally not increase. Suddenly, Long Fei released it again, and was able to properly feel the process and the power. He had gained control of the demon beast mastery. Shua. Ding. Fail. Proficiency +1. Heh. Long Fei's mind sank, and immediately looked into the darkness. He did not have a goal like the beast mastery, but this time he had gained an additional proficiency. Why is that? Long Fei immediately sensed something approaching him and used his consciousness to sense it, but he could not feel any aura. It wasn't that he couldn't sense it. It was his current cultivation that was too weak. A middle-aged man walked out of the darkness. The man was like a dead man, devoid of any aura. Long Fei's gaze tensed up. When the man moved, he didn't even need to walk. His body hovered in the air and flew over. This was still secondary. More importantly, the true essence beneath his feet was constantly being crushed. Just what kind of power was this? The heaven and earth true essence above Zhen Wu continent was trampled under his feet, and he couldn't even sustain it. Terrifying. Long Fei subconsciously tensed up and immediately went on guard. The middle-aged man was Immortal Master Liu Yuan, who suddenly disappeared. He looked at Long Fei and said, "Beast Mastery, your spiritual consciousness is very strong and your control is very strong. However, it is a normal beast mastery. It cannot compare to your previous alchemy technique." Long Fei realized that the man in front of him was monitoring him, and immediately thought of those people that the avians had mentioned, and asked, "Who exactly are you?" Immortal Master Liu Yuan did not answer, but asked back, "Where did you cultivate the alchemy technique from?" Finished. He immediately denied it and shook his head. No, ordinary people cannot cultivate this technique in the alchemy technique. And then, Immortal Master Liu Yuan asked again, "How did you grasp that alchemy technique?" Long Fei was shocked. He had always felt that the alchemy that he had mastered was simply too powerful, completely surpassing the boundaries of the Zhen Wu continent. No one in Zhen Wu continent could understand it. Could it be that the man in front of him understood everything? Long Fei really wanted to know what kind of alchemy technique it was, but he didn't believe the man in front of him and asked, "Why should I tell you?" Immortal Master Liu Yuan's gaze tensed up. If it was in the past, a lowly cultivator dared to speak to him like this, then with just a glance, he would have shattered his opponent's body. His body moved. Buzz. It instantly appeared in front of Long Fei. Too fast. It was so fast that it was completely unpredictable, and even Idea S could not keep up. However, Subconsciously, Long Fei roared fiercely, King Kong. It was loud. However, Transformers did not have any reaction, not just him, even the avians did not have any, as if they were isolated from the surroundings. The immortal Master Liu Yuan said indifferently, in my special boundary, other than me, no one can hear any sounds you make. And only I can let you leave the boundary, otherwise you will be trapped here for the rest of your life. Brat, you better explain yourself. Chapter 2400 Universal Realms Spirit Grass, Immortal Flower. Chapter 2400 Universal Realms Spirit Grass, Immortal Flower. The immortal Master Liu Yuan was trying to figure out whether or not Long Fei was using the ancient alchemy technique. He really wanted to know the secret on Long Fei's body. If Long Fei truly had the power of the ancient inheritance, then he would immediately bring Long Fei away from this place. Every single wisp of ancient inheritance's power was a part of the universal large world, like a law, an order, or maybe even a heaven's will. Its power was unfathomably strong. If Long Fei carried the power of the ancient inheritance, then he would be wasting his time in this plane. He should immediately enter the universal realm. However, the higher the level of the immortal Master Liu Yuan, the less Long Fei would say about it. Now that he was still under house arrest, Long Fei was even less likely to talk about it. Seeing that there were no changes in his surroundings, and not even a ripple from the boundary the center of Long Fei's brows tightened up and he said in disbelief, "You're saying that boundary is just boundary?" He pulled out the sky sword and cut out. Sure. There were no obstructions. It was as though his sword had stabbed into thin air. However, there was no unusual light on the sky sword. Immortal Master Liu Yuan looked at the sky sword in Long Fei's hands and said faintly, "Your alchemy technique is so amazing, but your sword techniques and sword are not that great." A broken sword covered in rust. He also did not see how powerful it was. Long Fei's heart tightened, and he thought to himself, "Sky sword, even people are laughing at you, can you release some of your power? Where did your strength go?" While they were talking, with a thought, true essence surged, and another sword thrust out. Just like before, nothing had changed. F***CK. I don't believe it. Long Fei looked at the nearby Transformers, and quickly ran out. Can't wake him up. Then knock him out. Immortal Master Liu Yuan also did not move, and said with a smile, "It's useless." Sure. Long Fei collided with it, but he could not dodge it. His body directly passed through Transformers' body, and just like a wave of light, it was clearly untouchable in front of him. It was as if he had seen a ghost. Long Fei tried again, but it was the same. The Transformers was just like an illusion. Long Fei looked at the immortal Master Liu Yuan and asked, "What did you do?" Immortal Master Liu Yuan said, "Before I said it, you were in my boundary, yet you didn't seem to have changed. Only you are within my boundary. Speak. As long as you tell me why you have that alchemy technique, I will let you out." Long Fei said straightforwardly, "You want to know?" "I'm not saying." At this moment, Long Fei thought crazily, no matter what kind of array it is, even the boundary has a way to break it. Long Fei raised his eyes and stared at Immortal Master Liu Yuan. Immortal Master Liu Yuan said, "It's useless. I will kill you and kill me and this boundary will still exist. This is impossible." Let alone killing him, Long Fei couldn't even touch him. It was just that. Long Fei had never been a coward, nor was he one that just sat there and waited for death. Revealing a smile, Long Fei's figure faintly moved, and said, "Really? Sure." His speed was extremely fast as he thrust out his sword. The sword pierced into Immortal Master Liu Yuan's body, but his body was the same as the Transformers', like a spirit body. Whoosh whoosh whoosh, asterisk whoosh whoosh whoosh, asterisk several tens of slashes in a row, every single time was the same. No matter how Long Fei fought, he could not do it. The strength rank was not in the same world at all. Immortal Master Liu Yuan thought to himself, so weak, why would the power of the ancient inheritance appear in his body? And then, being pierced by Long Fei, Immortal Master Liu Yuan was also annoyed. His figure turned heavy. Is it enough? Boom. A powerful force immediately bound Long Fei. Long Fei's body seemed to have been frozen in place. No matter how much strength he used, if he went all out, his body wouldn't be able to move at all. I just want to know why you possess the ancient alchemy technique, and why you have a special power in your body. He did not say that this was the power of the ancient inheritance. Because he could feel that Long Fei did not know that the power in his body was the power of the ancient inheritance. Long Fei's heart tightened, and his eyes immediately became gloomy, because of. He thought the mysterious power that the immortal Master Liu Yuan was talking about was the game system in his body, no matter what. Even if his biological parents Long Fei had the system in their body, he would not say anything. At the same time, Long Fei muttered in his heart, so. The alchemy technique that he had mastered was an ancient alchemy technique, an ancient. Could it be the ancient world? Even though the Zhenwu continent was a low plane and it was the most remote plane, everyone knew about the matter of the ancient world giving birth to the universal large world. Long Fei could not help but think to himself, could it be that you are from the ancient world? Immortal Master Liu Yuan frowned, it seems like you do not know about your power. Long Fei's eyes tensed up. As long as Immortal Master Liu Yuan was willing, he would immediately know what he was thinking. Since that was the case, Long Fei had nothing to hide, and said, I don't know. Immortal Master Liu Yuan frowned and started to ponder. Half a moment. Liu Yuan took out a spirit grass from his bosom and said, I have a spirit grass here. Can you refine it once for me to see? Remember, if I don't succeed, you will die. It was eerie and cold. There was killing intent in his voice. Long Fei's entire body was chilled, and he said, what if I succeed? Immortal Master Liu Yuan said, I will let you go. Long Fei asked, why should I believe you? Immortal Master Liu Yuan laughed coldly, do you have any choice? Although Long Fei was unhappy in his heart. But what the Immortal Master Liu Yuan said was the truth, he had no choice. Taking the spirit grass in the Immortal Master Liu Yuan's hands, Long Fei did not dare to use the system to check on its stats, because in the boundary, Long Fei was worried that he would be seen through. Once he had the spirit grass, Long Fei began refining it. However, this spirit grass is a little special. It was not a spirit grass of the Zhenwu continent. Long Fei's idea moved slightly, and his entire body was instantly attracted to it. This spirit grass. Sea of Souls. The spirit liquid within the spirit grass was as vast and boundless as the ocean. Too powerful. This type of spiritual liquid was extremely difficult to control because it was too big. Long Fei locked the space between his brows. At this moment, he wanted to succeed, he wanted to see what kind of pill this spirit grass could refine. And then, Long Fei took every step carefully, starting every step with every step. He also released his own true essence and the ancient alchemy technique to their limits. In the blink of an eye, Long Fei's body was faintly trembling. His face was pale. He desperately tried to persevere. Immortal Master Liu Yuan stood at the side. On the surface, he did not reveal any change in expression, but his heart was in turmoil. Universal realm is at a higher level than this realm by 108,000 kilometers. The spirit grass he is nurturing is the same. What's more, this spirit grass was even personally cultivated by the human king himself, and in this brat's hands. It's slowly being refined. Terrifying. This is too terrifying. Immortal Master Liu Yuan was stunned. A full 10 minutes later. This was the longest time that Long Fei had used his alchemy. The system sounded out. Ding. Chapter 2401 Undead Powder. Chapter 2401 Undead Powder. Ding. This was a very long process. Long Fei's mental energy was close to collapsing. He really couldn't take it anymore. This sea of spiritual liquids was completely beyond his imagination. Hearing the system beep, Long Fei's entire body relaxed, and he sat down on the ground, breathing heavily, not caring if it succeeded or not. System notification. Refining successful, proficiency plus 100,000 point. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for leveling up. Earth stage, Level 10. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining undead powder. Several notifications sounded consecutively. Long Fei was a little stupefied. His exhausted body seemed to have drank the pulse as it pulsated back to normal. My God, a proficiency with 100,000 points. Is there a mistake? He couldn't believe it. It was only after he had repeatedly confirmed his own alchemy techniques and level increase that he finally believed it. No matter how successful he was, it was impossible for him to suddenly raise so many proficiencies. He could only say one thing. There was nothing the system could not do, even if you did not think of it. The system only had one word: awesome. Earth-rank alchemy masters had already exceeded Long Fei's expectations, but when he heard the name of the pill, he felt as if he had been injected with chicken blood. Undead powder? How can I not die? Immediately, Long Fei quickly opened up the system to check. Pellet, undead powder stats, indestructible description, resurrected from the dead. Description 2, able to stay alive for 3 minutes. 2 descriptions, 2 choices. He could choose to save someone and bring them back to life within a few minutes of their death, or he could just take them directly. No matter what kind of attack he suffered, he wouldn't die. Looking at these attributes, Long Fei was extremely shocked in his heart. There really is such a pill in this world. And then, Long Fei looked at Immortal Master Liu Yuan and asked, "What was the name of the spirit grass I just refined?" You want to be shocked? This was the second time he had seen the alchemy of the ancient alchemy technique. The last time they were separated by a few thousand meters, this time they were right in front of him. Last time it was a super powerhouse of the gods tribe. This time, it was a low-level warrior from the lower realms. The difference between the two was simply too great. The excitement that could not be quelled in the Immortal Master Liu Yuan's heart was indescribable shock. He looked at Long Fei and did not speak for a long time, because he did not know what to do now. Take him to the Universal Realm? His cultivation was too low. Universal Realm was the center of the Universal Large World, and was also the strongest plane other than the Ancient Realm. The most crucial point. The Universal Realm was the plane that the Gods tribe controlled the most. Only the Universal Realm had a way in, and this was the key to the Gods tribe's ultimate control. The Gods tribe was an unshakable existence. Most of the families in Ancient World were stepped under the feet of the Gods tribe. The Gods tribe was simply too strong, so strong that they were heaven and earth. If they brought him to the Universal Realm, who could protect him? Once they were discovered by the Gods tribe, they would either submit or die. Leave him alone? That would truly be a pity. If he just let an exceptional genius slip by, Immortal Master Liu Yuan would feel that it was too much of a pity. Forget about everything else, just the ancient alchemy technique was enough to make everyone in the Universal Realm feel proud. No way. I can't let it go. I can't let such a peerless genius waste away here. Immortal Master Liu Yuan frowned and muttered to himself. Long Fei was startled. Peerless genius? Are you talking about me? This was the first time someone used the word genius to evaluate him. It was pretty good. Immortal Master Liu Yuan looked at Long Fei and said, "This plane isn't suitable for you, you will only be wasting your time here. Follow me, I will bring you to a stronger world." Huh? Long Fei trembled, he did not even think about it, and said, "Thank you, I still prefer to stay on this plane. As for the other higher planes, I believe that I will be able to step onto them step by step." Immortal Master Liu Yuan was astonished and reiterated, "This is a low plane, it is not much help to your development. If you can come with me." Long Fei said, "Thank you, using the words from my homeland, if I were to take a big step, it would easily affect my reputation, so I had better take it one step at a time." Follow him? Who is he? Long Fei was not familiar with them from the start. We'll talk about it later. Even if the Immortal Master Liu Yuan was doing this out of good intentions, with his essence condensation realm cultivation, what could he do in the higher planes? Refining alchemy medicine? This was not what Long Fei wanted. Although alchemy were important, level was everything to Long Fei. Level was what he wanted. If he wanted to become stronger, there was only one way to become stronger. Many of the demon beast in this world could crush him, so how strong were the demon beast in the higher planes? The newbie village was not doing very well, yet they still wanted to go to the main city. Long Fei was eager to enter the universal realm. However, not now. Immortal Master Liu Yuan looked at Long Fei and said sincerely, "Do you want to consider it again?" Long Fei shook his head, "No need." "Who?" Immortal Master Liu Yuan sighed lightly, his eyes looking at the sky. He thought to himself, "Is heaven's will irreversible? All right. This is one of my spatial tokens. If you want to leave this place and enter the larger world, as long as you shatter it, I will be able to sense your location." Immortal Master Liu Yuan took out a small order badge with the word Liu Yuan carved on it. Long Fei did not hesitate and quickly received it. Since there was something here, he naturally wanted it. Immortal Master Liu Yuan said lightly, "This is the beast site. A large group of monsters from the dark world will appear as soon as the sun shines." Long Fei was secretly shocked. "Seems like bird person really did not lie to me." Liu Yuan said, "These dark demon beasts are much stronger than flying ant. Can you block them?" Long Fei smiled slightly and said, "Even if you can't, you have to. Men can't say no." His heart was excited. Because a large wave of demon beast in the dark world, that was a large wave of experience. This was the most satisfying. No matter what, Long Fei would do everything in his power to resist. Immortal Master Liu Yuan did not try to stop him anymore. Now, he was certain that with just this alone, Long Fei would not die here. Immortal Master Liu Yuan looked at Long Fei and said, "I still don't know what your name is." Long Fei said, Long Fei who's a flying dragon in the sky." Immortal Master Liu Yuan nodded and said, "Long Fei, I will remember this. I believe we will meet again." As soon as he finished, the Immortal Master Liu Yuan disappeared. Next, surroundings returned to silence. He could not feel any change in his surroundings at all, and walked over to Transformers' side and lightly touched it. Transformers opened his eyes and said, "Boss, what's wrong?" The boundary disappeared without a trace. Long Fei was even more shocked as he thought, "Damn, this guy is definitely a fierce person." Looking at the command medallion in his hand, Long Fei thought to himself, "I wonder what higher plane he wants to take me to." Chapter 2402, Trap Technique. Chapter 2402, Trap Technique. After all, the power Immortal Master Liu Yuan had displayed was too strong. It was not the power of this world. Long Fei looked at the birdman who wore a full body of golden armor, and his appearance couldn't be seen clearly, and muttered, "Looks like what she said was all true, this place really is a beast site." Transformers said, "What?" Long Fei shook his head, "Nothing, hurry up and recover. There's going to be a tough battle tomorrow morning." "Oh." Transformers immediately entered into cultivation. Long Fei raised his head and looked into the night sky. It was tranquil and peaceful. "Are you a demon beast from the dark world? I need to make some more preparations." He glanced at the undead powder that was still in his hands. Just 3 minutes of undying mode isn't enough. And then, Long Fei opened the system. It had to find a way out of the system. Merchant shop system. Long Fei thought to himself as the system merchant shop appeared in his mind. It was the same as the previous one, where one item after another appeared in a list in his mind. No way. No way. It still won't work. Even if you have enough exchange value, you can't exchange for holy artifact. Long Fei frowned. A holy artifact could never defy the heavens, let alone a savage demon beast of the dark realm. Long Fei carefully checked again, but he couldn't find a way. Special system. Then, he looked at the special system mode. Double attack scroll, no. For times the normal rate isn't good either. Wait, what is this? Long Fei's eyes shook. He found a special scroll inside the special item. Trap scroll? Huh. His exchange value is only 100 points. So cheap. Immediately. The system was smarter than ghosts. It would be impossible for Long Fei to take advantage of it in his next life. Long Fei had a deep understanding of this. "I don't care. I'll exchange for one first and then take a look." The idea moved. Exchange. Ding. System notification. The exchange of trap scrolls has succeeded. Exchange value 100 point. Long Fei took out the trap scroll and walked into the forest. After he left, the aviant's eyes slightly opened. Looking at the direction Long Fei disappeared in, her wings moved slightly, and she quietly disappeared from her original position. Even the two-headed king did not notice. A trap scroll. All right. See what kind of trap you are. Long Fei walked to an empty space and directly crushed the scroll. Come, let this daddy see. Ding. Arrangement complete. After Long Fei crushed the scroll, the trap was set up. Long Fei looked at the caved-in forehead that was filled with 8 black lines. I knew it, your sister. System, can you not scam me? Do you think digging a pit with a pile of dog shit in it is a trap? And, aren't you being too darned? It's only half a meter deep. Do you want to kill the gods? Long Fei was speechless, and at the same time, tried to verify a fact. The system is really deceiving me. Trap technique. If there is a strong trap, then it will definitely be able to resist the dark demon beast. And it's the easiest thing to level up. Long Fei did not give up on the trap technique. It was just like an array formation. I'll try again. And then, Long Fei didn't give up and once again exchanged for a trap scroll and used it. It was a half-meter deep pit, and there was a pile of dog shit in it. He was no different from what he was before, but the only change was that the second trap was a result of the first trap. The original trap was only half a meter deep, but when the two traps were added together, it would become a meter deep. Long Fei frowned, he then fell into deep thought. Following that, Long Fei tried again. It deepened by another half a meter. As expected, Long Fei's eyes shone with a bright light. If there is such a superposition, then it will be interesting. In an instant, Long Fei jumped out again. Looking at the sky, he thought to himself, there isn't much time left, I need to speed up. After Long Fei left, the avian descended again, and looked at the trap that Long Fei had set up. It had an indifferent expression. Can a trap like this stop the demon beast? She felt some disdain. Who? Bird person looked at the sky and muttered, a new day has begun, a new demon beast will appear again. He, a human, can't even resist it. Relying on him? Will he really be my savior? Bird person was puzzled. She had become a prey in the beast sight, and had also been a hunter before. After having been reincarnated several times, she had been waiting for someone. Someone who could get her out. However, now that a human had appeared, she could not see any hope. Bird person's eyes flashed as he looked at the savage heavenly peak. He clenched his fists tightly, no matter what. I must rush out. Then, the birdman's wings moved, shoo, he soared into the sky and disappeared. Exchange. System notification. The exchange of trap scrolls has succeeded. Exchange value 100 point. Exchange. 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 Long Fei crazily exchanged, changing the soaring wings into exchange value, and then converting all his exchange value into trap technique, using all his exchange value. Madness was like going berserk. In the east, the sky was turning white. At various peaks, the voices of the powerhouse rang out. The new day has begun. Beast sight can begin again. Ha ha ha. I really look forward to it. Today, we will destroy everything. That human and that strange bird. Quick, quick, quick. Today is my turn to be the banker, so hurry up and place your bet. No matter how much you bet, I will accept it all. Ha ha ha. Long Fei and the others could not hear what those people were saying. No one in the world could hear it. The immortal Master Liu Yuan said slightly, isn't this too cruel? Immortal Master Liu Yuan, what do you mean? Damn. Why didn't you say it was cruel before? Exactly. What's so cruel about us messing with us? Everyone began to criticize him. The immortal Master Liu Yuan said, after all, every plane has the law and order of every plane. Does this disrupt the law and order of every plane? Also, do you think it's fair to use the demon beast from another world to fight against the three of them? As soon as he finished, everyone immediately laughed out loud. Ha ha ha. Fair. Is there such a thing as fairness in this world? Do you think it's fair that the gods' tribe controls all the inheritance's power in the ancient world? Immortal Master Liu Yuan, are you going to bet or not? If you don't want to bet, then shut up. Don't ruin our mood. Fair. There was no such thing as fairness. Whoever had the toughest fist would be fair. Otherwise, everything would have been for naught. The space between Immortal Master Liu Yuan's eyebrows tightened, and said faintly, I bet 100 million grand mist crystals on that human winning. Chapter 2403, I want them dead as much as they come. Chapter 2403, I want them dead as much as they come. As soon as he finished, everyone was shocked and immediately quieted down. How much did he say? 100 million grand mist crystals? Holy sh**, he's so generous. Who did he bet on to win? That human? Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha. I thought you wanted to bet on the demon beast winning. Fine, let's go. I don't care what kind of relationship you have with the human king, but with so many people here, I can testify them. As they spoke, they continued to speak in a low voice. In any case, the position of the human king in the universal realm is already nothing, and the position of overlord has been shortened. Immortal Master Liu Yuan's eyes turned sinister. What did you say? Say what? I am the human king. Right now, I am just an ordinary cultivator. He is no longer an overlord. That person was also not afraid of anything. The human king used to be very popular. However, after that kid from the dragon race fell, the dragon race pledged allegiance to him. The mortal king's most prized disciple, Tang Renjie, had fallen and fought the gods' tribe 10 times in a row, losing 10 times in a row. What else does the king have? Nonsense. He scolded them harshly. They simply did not give Immortal Master Liu Yuan any face at all. And what he said was the truth. All those years ago, he had placed his hopes on a lowly human, but what happened in the end? Not to mention the failure of the extradition, even his favorite disciple had died. Furthermore, with the sudden betrayal of her ally Long Wutian, the power of the human king had shrunk rapidly in the universal realm. It had failed 10 times in a row, so the human king was probably left with one of the inheritance power. Other than this, he had nothing else. Immortal Master Liu Yuan clenched his fists tightly, the anger in his heart surging. At this time, that person said, Immortal Master Liu Yuan, 100 million grand mist crystals is not a small number. Can you take it out? Don't say I despise you, I think you'd better take it out. Immortal Master Liu Yuan turned his right hand, and a purple gold crystal mountain appeared in his palm. The purple gold gave off a dense qi, causing everyone's eyes to be dumbstruck. Grand Mist Crystal Mountain, 100 million is enough. Damn, Immortal Master Liu Yuan, when did you become so rich? Don't tell me this is the Grand Mist Crystal that you were preparing to break through into the next realm? You really put in a lot of effort, but you made the wrong bet, betting on that human to win? Ha ha ha. These 100 million Grand Mist crystals have gone to waste. Immortal Master Liu Yuan did not speak. These 100 million Grand Mist crystals were truly the cultivation resources he needed to enter into closed-door seclusion to break through to the next boundary. But he trusted Long Fei. If Long Fei truly had the power of the ancient inheritance, then he would definitely be able to win. The will of heaven cannot be defied. The will of the ancient world was even more irreversible. Immortal Master Liu Yuan said lightly, Ocean King, that strange bird is yours as well, right? That's right. Are you interested? Sea King said coldly. Immortal Master Liu Yuan said, I bet 100 million Grand Mist crystals on that human to win. If I win, give me that strange bird. 100 million Grand Mist crystals for a strange bird. Not to mention one. Even 10 million would be enough. Sea King was stunned and said, Did I hear wrong? Immortal Master Liu Yuan said, I didn't hear wrong. Sea King laughed and said, All right, you said it yourself. No one is forcing you. All right. Forget so much, I can't even wait. I bet he won't be able to hold on for an hour. Let's start. I can't wait either. Sea King smiled as he looked at Immortal Master Liu Yuan and said, Immortal Master Liu Yuan, you have lost for sure. Ha ha ha. And then, Sea King's robes began to emit popping sounds. With a flip of his right hand, the power in his body surged. Boom. A loud sound echoed out. A thick black cloud suddenly appeared, door of darkness, open. Boom. The air became distorted, and in a flash, the door of space-time opened its mouth. Immediately after, dark figures started descending one by one, each of them extremely ferocious, their bodies burning with a black flame. Roar. With a roar, all the strange darkness beasts in the door of space-time seemed to have awakened as they crazily rushed out of the door. Boom. Boom. Groups after groups. The powerhouse on the mountain peak boiled over. Ha ha ha. Sea King, is that alien demon from the dark world? That's right. It's the alien demons. Although their rank is not high, their attacks can be said to be the most ferocious monsters in the dark world. Ha ha ha. Then that kid wouldn't even be able to hold on for a minute, let alone an hour. Immortal Master Liu Yuan also frowned. He had thought that the Ocean King would release a powerful dark demon beast, but he never thought that it would be this kind of alien demon. He also attacked at a fast speed. Extremely bloodthirsty. It was also extremely brutal. If this was a weakness, then it was likely that he wouldn't be able to fly. It was obvious. Sea King was purposely targeting Long Fei this time. That strange bird could fly, the alien spirit demon couldn't do anything about it. Even if Long Fei could fly, he wouldn't be able to hold on for long, this battle. No doubt about it. Hai Wang looked at Liu Yuan's worried expression and laughed. Immortal Master Liu Yuan, surrender and you will lose half. You still have a chance. The door of space-time of the dark world had not closed yet, but the alien demons were still crazily rushing into the wilderness. Liu Yuan frowned and said, I, Liu Yuan, do not know what surrender means. Sea King laughed coldly and said, all right, I'm definitely going to win your 100 million Grand Mist crystals. As soon as he finished speaking, a loud exploding sound came from the door of space-time. Boom. Rumble. Thunder raged, crazily exploding. An incomparably gigantic alien demon appeared and stood at the mouth of the door of space-time. With a glance, he revealed a cold and scornful look, and then fell down heavily. Holy sh**. Alien Queen, this. It's a moving mother ness. It can produce dozens of seeds every minute, and it can hatch out in a minute, this. Just this alien queen is enough to destroy this plane. Sea King, this time you played it a little too big, I like it, ha ha ha. Everyone became even more excited. The space between Immortal Master Liu Yuan's eyebrows tightened even more. Sea King sneered, I gave you a chance, he. You have lost for sure. Just like the Mortal King, you are destined to be a loser. Boom. Boom, boom, boom. In the distance, the sound of intense footsteps came from the forest. Thunderous rumbles raged like thunder. Holy sh**. How many demon beasts are there? Long Fei's gaze tensed up. Transformers cupped his fists and said heavily, Boss, we can go all out today. A cold glint flashed in Birdperson's eyes as he said, he's dead for sure today. Long Fei slightly smiled and said, today, you all don't need to do anything, just stand there and watch. I want all of you to die no matter how many that comes. Chapter 2404, Quick, Let's Flee. Chapter 2404, Quick, Let's Flee. The ground rumbled as it neared. In the distance, dust filled the air as numerous towering trees were forcibly smashed into pieces, and broken branches flew everywhere. The flames of darkness seemed to cover the entire sky. A black cloud pressing down on a city. Birdperson looked into the distance and muttered, unable to block, this is alien demon of the dark world, the strongest demon beast in the dark world. Moreover, one demon beast might not be powerful, but a group of them all have terrifying fighting capabilities. I have read in the records of the pagoda that the most ferocious demon beast in the dark world are the alien demons. This group of alien demons are at least 10,000 more. Birdperson looked at Long Fei and said, I think we should just escape. 10,000? When Long Fei heard this word, his mind tensed up as he muttered to himself, if one head has 100,000 points experience, 10 heads will be 1,000,000, 100 heads will be 10 million, 1,000 heads will be 100 million, 10,000 heads. Damn, 1 billion. If. Plus double EXP. 2 billion. Ha ha ha. It's going to be sent out soon, it's going to be sent out soon. I'm definitely going to send it this time. Long Fei revealed an excited smile. Looking at Long Fei's excited expression, Bird Person could not help but ask, you can still laugh? Do you know how fierce they are? Long Fei laughed. Of course I'm laughing, I'm still going to laugh. Ha ha ha. He thought to himself, 2 billion experience, what level can that raise me? Bird Person's eyes had a look of disdain, he looked at Long Fei and coldly said, ignorant. Long Fei also could not be bothered to care about it, and thought in his heart, I'm ignorant. Later on, you will know whether this daddy is ignorant or an omnipotent savior. Boom. Boom. Rumble. The monster army was getting closer and closer to him, and also, when they rushed out of the door of spacetime, they immediately locked onto Long Fei's presence, because in the entire beast site, only Long Fei was a human. The aura of a human was like fresh blood that stimulated the alien demons. Hiss tilde tilde hiss tilde tilde the piercing hissing sound was getting closer and closer, like some kind of radio wave. The stones on the ground trembled. The tree was shaking. A hurricane swirled in the air as it crazily attacked. Transformers swallowed his saliva for a moment and said, Boss, aren't we going to do something? She wanted to see what tricks Long Fei could come up with, and she also clearly knew the weakness of these alien demons. Flight. However, she didn't say it. Long Fei grinned and said excitedly, it's not time yet. It was getting closer and closer. The air began to vibrate. Stood at the very front and watched quietly. A sharp light flashed in his eyes, and there was not the slightest trace of fear in them. Transformers stood beside him. Long Fei was not worried, but he was a little worried. He continuously looked at Long Fei, but did not say anything. Suddenly, swish, an alien demon rushed out of the dense forest and pounced towards Long Fei. His body was pitch black, his eyes gleaming with green light, his tail trailing behind him. His teeth were crisscrossed, sharp, and ugly. He was covered in mucus. He looked just like the alien in the movies from his past life. Long Fei could not help but think to himself, could it be that the alien world from the science fiction movies from my previous life is also a plane within the universal large world? Hiss. When the alien demon landed, he roared at Long Fei. Green mucus gushed out of his mouth. Transformers clenched his fists, wanting to rush out. However, just at that moment, Long Fei suddenly shouted out, run. It was simply a sudden change of scenery. Transformers and Avian didn't know how to react. Long Fei turned and ran. Transformers was stunned for half a second and immediately caught up, asking, Boss, this is your plan? Long Fei smiled faintly and said, that's right. Bird Person did not rush out immediately. Seeing Long Fei running away, she immediately said disdainfully, I knew you were useless. Flee. You think you can escape from the alien demons? It seems like you're not the person I'm waiting for. Bird Person felt a sense of loss. She didn't give up hope for Long Fei. If he could withstand the demon beast of the dark world, she might even believe that Long Fei was the person she was waiting for. Long Fei escaped. He ran away like an idiot. This also meant that Long Fei was not the person she was waiting for. Long Fei would die. Because, had not been able to avoid the alien demon's chase. Escaping was waiting for death. The more power you have to run, the more those alien demons will chase. Watching Long Fei escaping into the forest without a trace, the aviant's eyes were filled with loneliness, and he muttered, you shouldn't have appeared here in the first place. I was the one who brought you in here. I'll take you out. Bird Person flapped his wings, shoo. He soared into the sky and disappeared in the blink of an eye. She was the one who brought Long Fei and Transformers into beast sight. Since Long Fei was not the person she was waiting for, she should send him out. Boom. Rumble. Rumble. It was just as the avians had said, the more Long Fei escaped, the more the alien demons chased him, and the more fierce they became. Ha ha ha. I thought this kid could come up with some tricks, but it turns out he's just running away. You don't even know how you died when comparing your speed with that of an alien demon. We won. It's stable this time. Ha ha ha. Immortal Master Liu Yuan, you have lost for sure this time. Many people became complacent. Immortal Master Liu Yuan stared intently at Long Fei, his heart filled with worry. What is he planning to do? Is he unprepared? That's right, even if he's strong, he might not be a match for warriors of the Dark World's demon beast. Moreover, his cultivation is not strong at all. But ancient alchemy technique. We absolutely cannot die like this. Immortal Master Liu Yuan was secretly prepared. No matter what, he would not let Long Fei die here. I can't do it. He will bring Long Fei to Universal Realm. Huff. Immortal Master Liu Yuan let out a light breath. Sea King looked at him and laughed coldly. What is it? Are you nervous? Ha ha ha. I really don't know why you chose him. Just wait and lose. And then Sea King's idea was released and immediately covered the entire beast site. In that instant, the alien demons looked like they were on stimulants as they became even more excited, and their speed became even faster. He's catching up. Boss, we're going to catch up. Let's fight with them. Transformers said anxiously. Alien in front of them was about to bite their butts. The troops behind him immediately caught up. In this situation, if he were to continue running, he would only be waiting for death. There was no more road in front of them. They had already escaped to the Savage Gate and were surrounded on 3 sides by the mountain. This was a dead end. At this moment, Long Fei heaved a sigh of relief and said, Kong Kim, follow me, faster. You're tuning in to the Celestial War YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.